yeah, so we got a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Because you're not up to date on anything, huh? You was here just a little bit last night, but you didn't see Marcus's.
So when you saw what's going on, what did you think? Because we got a lot of people complaining. Lately, I think it's December is like the month of drama. It feels like
everybody's broke in December.
Yeah.
And when people are broke
or about
drama.
to be extremely, yeah. You know what?
Broke means drama.
He told me the other day, he said, whenever the money's fucked up, that's when shit start going bad.
Yeah, it's true. I see it all the time.
That's when people start acting funny.
Anytime I see a guy on the internet bitching about this community, I'm like, oh, he's broke today.
Because even now I'm looking online.
Because when I got money, I ain't worried about the motherfucking internet.
We got celebrity, people going back and forth with celebrity candles, right? Talking about them and whatnot, their issues. And then we got the whole Frenchie Bowl team and their thing going on. It's quite a few people out here. The UK people talking about the dogs and the battle with the floodles and stuff. Who got floodle, who don't got floodle.
You heard about Javi?
No, what happened to Javi?
You know Javi, right?
No. I think we talked about it.
He's that Miami breeder. He's saying about the curls. He's the one that brought the curls in the dog game.
The curls?
24. What his name is?
I'm about to find out right now.
I don't be understanding none of that, man.
You be staying out the mix.
But this is the thing about it.
JS 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't do all that. I ain't into
This is what I don't understand. A lot of this business, people want credit, right? But credit doesn't mean anything. It's not, you don't get nothing for credit. Look about it. If Tracy is the first one to come out with long hair, short hair, no hair, right? It doesn't matter if everyone continues to want to buy the dog from me. Yeah, Tracy could have been the first one to do it, first one to bring it out. But guess what? They're not buying yours. They're buying mine.
That's why they're mad right now because I'm hairless.
So
Everybody's mad because they're like, because when you made that post, oh, Tracy's the first one.
Yeah.
Well, it don't matter if you had the dog before. Everybody's locking my dog in. They ain't worried about your fucking dogs.
And I think we talked about it maybe like 3 podcasts ago. It was like, what's more important, the first or
the
best? And as we're learning a lot of times, yeah, first gives you a head start, and you might be the only one around. So people, it's like food. If you're hungry, you're gonna eat whatever's available for you to eat. But if you had a choice of what you wanted to eat, once the choices come in, and if people are putting you to the side, and you have to scream out of the first, that meant you did nothing with your head start. You get what I'm saying? If you were the first to do it, and if people are not still considering you the premier choice, the go-to choice, that means with your head start, you didn't do enough with it. Right. That's all it is. That's what that means. If I'm the first,
you should have took advantage of it when you had the chance.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like the new shades or whatever. They had those new shades that were all trash, but they were all working when Champagne Poppy came out. Everybody else's new shades no longer were even on the map anymore. They were irrelevant because Champagne Poppy was ahead of his time quality-wise.
Yeah.
And that dude made $380,000 in 3 months.
And I think when people scream out, "Oh, I was the first," it's more like a make you feel good, like a pat in the back, make you feel good type of thing. Which doesn't, like I said, let's say again, it doesn't go towards being the top breeder. No, now that's the new topic too. Who's the top breeder? Man, listen, top breeder, like I say over and over again, is just a breeder who's buying or producing the dogs that everyone wants to use or purchase. That's it. That's all that matters. I know you can have the best structure. If you have the best structure, people are not buying it, that don't make you a top breeder. If you have the best marketing, Atlantis marketing schemes, and it doesn't help you sell puppies or make an impact in the industry in that sense or make money, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? All that matters is you can have okay dogs, but you counteract your okay dogs with great marketing and excellent customer service. So that's why you outsell everyone else. That makes you a top breeder.
A perfect example, Posture Bulls, right?
Yeah.
We all know who Posture Bulls is. You know who that is?
Who?
Posture Bulls.
Yeah.
It's like equivalent to Shrinkables.
Yeah.
Well, they say Posture Bulls, Carl Shallard, he's never really produced the dogs. But because he's the one that has a name on everything, so this guy approached me and he was like, "You're always giving credit to Carl Shallard." And I'm like, well, the reality is he's the one that's selling the dog. So it doesn't matter if you produce the dog. If he's the one selling the dog and he's the one promoting the dog, he's the one getting the credit for the dog.
Yeah, that makes sense. The thing about it, people think being a breeder is just about you sitting at home and putting 2 dogs together. It's a little bit more than that. Sometimes
he's a marketing genius.
Yeah, exactly. So his strength, he may not be the mad scientist. That might not be his strength, but his strength is marketing and having an eye for the right dogs to be at the right place at the right time. That may be his skill. So he counteracts what he's lacking. Some breeders are excellent breeders, but they lack in the marketing, so they maybe take over by making excellent quality dogs or being the first. We had that podcast not too long ago with what was it, designer peds, right? Designer bulls, designer peds, right? For Archie, are you a breeder or are you a creator? And some people may not be really good breeders, but they're excellent creators. You get what I'm saying? So like out there with designer bulls, they've been dropping a lot of first new stuff, but people they're good at being first. I think that's their thing. They're good at being first. I don't think they're good at maintaining that advantage for the long haul, because as they become first, that's where their success comes from, being first. And then once everyone gets a taste of the DNA that they put out there, it's kind of like you don't really need to deal with them as much.
That's where co-owner comes in.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're not always the best marketer, so you find somebody like Mo who is a good marketer and join teams with somebody like that. That way you can build your brand up and also your dogs up. So that's why co-ownership is important.
That's what co-ownership is supposed to be about. I think a lot of times in breeding, like we talked about, when your money's funny, things start getting kind of weird. I think a lot of people are trying to make more money, and they believe the way they make more money is by cutting out the middleman, right? The middleman is there for a specific reason, right? Remember, you had a business deal where you had a product, they had the money. But because there was no middleman, you guys had this back and forth on something that may not have happened, because you didn't trust meeting these guys up with the product. These guys don't trust you bringing all this was over 6 figures worth of money to some random dude. But had there been a middleman that knew Mo and his team, that knew Ox and your people, that middleman said, hey, man, these guys are good people, or these people are cool, it's safe, let's do good business. That's the value and the power of a middleman. A middleman would have had this done all the way, quickly and done. So, like you said, I think the co-ownership makes a big deal where, you know what, hey, a breeder may be an excellent breeder, but might not have all the resources or even all the finances. But you pair up with the person who may have resources, who may have a good finances, where they can work out a deal where you guys work together to produce top quality dogs that get the proper exposure, right? And the proper care, which is usually the co-owner, right? And the proper matching, which is 2 heads working together to make the proper pairing. That's how you make dope dogs.
I think sometimes they think that because you co-own that you don't have the money always, that the finances aren't always right. But like for myself, so I have like 4 studs, right? I'm working all the studs by myself. I'm doing everything by myself. I have plenty of funds. But when it came to this hairless, I decided to co-own. Even though I could afford to do it all by myself, I decided to co-own because this guy's already established in the hairless industry, and it only made sense for me to partner up. And he even offered me a better deal if I wanted to pay it outright. And I said, no, I don't want to do it that way. I specifically reached out to you to co-own with you because I know that we can benefit from each other. And sometimes it's not always about not having the money. Sometimes it's about having that relationship together and both of y'all pushing something like a dog, especially a stud.
Right.
Now, I heard you say it's always good to have the middleman, but I feel like the middleman always messes everything up.
How so?
Between 2 partners of 2 co-owners, you know? Middleman always messes things up because they can always make more money on the side.
So?
Thinking, and it's good, but at least let us know, like, hey, look, I'm going to be the middleman, but I'm going to throw something on top of it.
No,
on whatever
listen, that's not how business works. That's the thing about it. We all want to get into the business of, this is a business of producing dogs, right? Or puppies, right? We want to get into this business, but we want to grab and make other things. This is not a church. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing this out of the kindness of our hearts. You know what I'm saying? So if a person who's breeding dogs, let's say Tracy, if I have puppies and I'm unable to sell the puppies, I say, hey, Tracy, she has excellent marketing, excellent network of people who's willing to buy them as pets or breeders, right? It should be something that's unspoken. hey, Tracy asked me, what do you want or what's the percentage on it? All right, that's what I want, that's the percentage. And she goes off and do her thing. That's pretty much what it is. A lot of us, we bring principle. Oh, it's the principle. Hey, this is not a church. We're not family, and majority of us is not friends.
Well, that's the communication that it should be the right way. But there's middleman people that will rip you off.
But our situation with the middleman, it was two dogs. More people wanted to buy for 180 bands. And it was like, I don't know him, he don't know me. At this time, you gotta watch out because it's trying to
dangerous,
steal you, drive you, whatever with the dog playing game. So I'm like, I don't know him, and he feeling the same way. Like I don't know him, he might rob me and take my money. Mm-hmm. So he's saying if he had a middleman, that's what he's saying about a middleman.
Yeah.
The middleman, if he had a middleman who hooked that deal up. You know what I'm saying?
Make it comfortable for both parties to come together.
Even if the middleman that was in the middle told them, Ox said he wanted 180, and the middleman told him 190, and he set the whole thing up. Hey, he vouching for Ox, he vouching for the other guy, so he's sitting there making sure everybody's straight and everyone's good. So you found out, oh man, Ox only wanted 180, I paid 190. Hey, it doesn't matter. We always try to devalue what other people bring to the table. Listen. The way you make more money is not by cutting out everyone. It's like saying, all right, we have a business with kennels. Well, you have to pay someone to maintain your dogs. Guess what? Maintaining your dogs is important. Clean, natural sunlight, getting outside, health, vet, all these type of things. A lot of people try to save or make more money by cutting out every little middleman. It's a lot of that going on. I have a guy who tried to buy his own, not as a lady, and she's out here in Houston. She do a lot of services with me, right? So she went out and bought her own progesterone, and I think they're doing TCIs and stuff, and they had a rash. I'm talking about a rash of like no success. Or when they first started, they were coming to me to do TCIs. I'm like, hey, something don't look right. And they go home and they're like, oh man, you know what? They messed with the testing. Or maybe on numerous occasions, like maybe at the times they came to me, like at least 4 to 5 times, they messed with the progesterone numbers and they got to redo the TCI again, right? I'm doing a second TCI maybe 4 or 5 days later because they kind of screwed up their numbers or they did something wrong with the testing machine. But they offering the service to other people as for business.
So let's say this. So with the whole Frenchie Bowl situation and the dog situation, so say I give you $75,000 for a dog, right? There should be some sort of contract. But if I'm giving you $75,000 and it's really $85,000, who writes the contracts? Who gets to decide? Because the dog actually I paid $85,000. So the contract actually has to say the $85,000, unless there's a better agreement, right? Because I think that's where a lot of the situations is coming from, because a lot of people there was not enough information about the money being shared. So some people put out like $75,000 while somebody else put out $8,000.
But this is where the middleman comes into place. The middleman, the person who's in the middle, who's facilitating it, right? We're talking about the Frenchie Bowl folks, right? That's with George Mosley, right? That's what Marcus Hype, right? That's what Alex
Boza.
Lee, huh?
And Al Boza.
And Al Boza, right? So these guys are all working together somehow and was doing some business and deals. Whoever in that group decided to take the initiative to facilitate this should have sat down, wrote up the contract, and everyone should have their input, and it should be plain and clear. And people understand what these contracts with these dog business, right? A contract is just not what you want. People make a mistake. A contract has to have a beginning, an end, terms, and penalties. That's what people understand. It has to be an end. Also, there be an end to the contract too. So a lot of people will get into this, make a contract up, and the contract will be incomplete. And we talked about this the other day about people in people's business, right? Good business is where we all sit at the table and we all walk away happy. Not walk away happy and then talk to 3 other people and then like, oh, I'm suddenly unhappy. We need to change the deal. That's something else. That's where NDAs come into play. Where hey, if all 4 of us looked at this contract, looked it over, if I felt that my knowledge of what was going on was strong enough to put $75,000, $10,000, or any of my money in it, you have to stand on that business between us.
So tell me this: did they have a contract?
No, there was no contracts in place at all.
Contract.
Yeah. So now
no
you're
contract.
so now you're doing. But another thing too is a contract is supposed to be there just to keep Honest people,
see,
honest.
See, some people feel like I trust enough. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a big issue
That's
with
exactly
what's going
what
on right
happened.
now. Is because he even mentioned yesterday, well, they trusted me. Well, they trusted you to not be screwing them.
And go fair, be fair. And I think also, but when you have no contract, the next best thing you can do, because obviously it has to be something that has to be done. The next thing you can do is just fall back on what's generally the general practices of the industry.
Like the putback deals we were
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about.
We talked about it before, like putback. If we did that, hey, I'm gonna do putback on you, and then it's like, okay, we didn't have any contract. Nobody remember what was being said. The general consensus on a putback is usually second pick. That's general. The whole industry is second pick puppy.
I'm gonna tell you like this here, man. See the dog and turn friend to enemy. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I first got in the bullies, probably was 2012, and my people who put me on to the dog, they were like, man, don't never let these dogs come between us. And I'm like, man, how a dog gonna come between me and you? We've been family forever. And I never understood it until I got, when I came home from the Fed and got in the Frenchies. I'm talking about I had a partner who been like this with me, and we fell out over some dogs that I don't really care about all that. We gonna do our thing together. But I'm saying this to say, as far as it's just how people deal with things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when we're doing dogs, you're gonna meet different people with different level of understanding, different level of moral understanding and obligation or integrity. But I just think that the cool thing about having a community, it's like raising a child, right? You're able to look around and get guidance is everywhere, right? So, example, if we did a breeding and I use your Dapper Dan and for a putback, but let's say we made a mistake. What happens? You know what? We didn't really specify how clear it is. Obviously, you ain't getting whatever I give you, right? We all know most people, unless it's like a top breeder and they're stating up front, hey, I want first pick, the general consensus is second pick. Or if you call Dapper Dan, right? The general consensus is for us, let's say we didn't put it in contract, we just shook hands, we good. We know when something come up. The general consensus of our community. I'm not saying other people don't do little small things different, but the generalized, if we didn't speak on it, this is what's understood. You have the stud, we own the stud together, you can use them as much as you want for dogs that you own completely. I can use him on whatever I own completely, and then when we sell it, use it with someone else, we split whatever profit, be it a putback, be it some cash, we supposed to split together because we both own it, we supposed to share on that.
Right.
That's the general consensus.
Yeah.
Now, there are circumstances where, we talked about now with the UK, they have a new wave now, with a lot of these dogs, the new colors and patterns are,
one ran in house. You can only run the dog one time in house.
Not
and
how much
after that, you can't. You gotta pay you gotta pay the other person half of their fucking fee.
Meaning the way UK does it is, if me and you co-own a dog, you could only use our stud on one of your females only one time, and that's it. And I do the same thing.
and after that we pay each other.
And if you want to use it again on another female, you got to pay me the stud fee. And if I want to use it, I got to pay you the stud fee.
I kind of understand it. You know why I kind of understand that? Because it's time to weed out all the weeds out the grass right now.
Because a lot of times,
And
like with cones,
we got devalued. Like when I came in again, my first fluffy, 20,000. 2 weeks later, call the same people, West Coast. I call the same people, 35,000. Next week, 50. Next week, 100. The price went up. For the price to go all the way down so fast is because people devalued it, and they didn't stand on keeping the price up. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what though?
So
That
right
means
now we need to get it back to where it's like that's what I feel like with the food away. That this gonna come in and they gonna have a little price. It depends if they don't get it devalued. You know what I'm saying? Cause
But the thing about everything gets devalued. That's what happens. When you think about people understand is a lot of these dogs, people, all right, when someone people have money problems. Boom, immediately that chain becomes expendable. Get it out of here. I just need whatever I can get for it to take care of this, take care of that, right? That's what happens with these dogs. So people will get on this wave of dogs, expect to make what you're making on the dogs, but don't put in the work that you're putting in, right? The marketing work. So now it's like, man, I'm selling these dogs, and I was counting. People count. I see people in here all the time at the breeding. Man, if I get 4 puppies, I'm gonna do $20,000 puppies, this and that. So when they get there, 4 or 5 puppies, and nobody's biting at the 20,000. No one's biting at 20,000. Well, should I take 15? But nobody's biting at the 15 either. Well, man, listen, just give me 10. So now I hear guys coming here, walking in here with fluffies, $3,000, $3,500 for fluffies. And I'm like, for $3,500? But then there are people still selling fluffies for 20, 25, 30.
Right.
But there are people that walk in their door doing breedings and they get $3,500 for fluffy, and you think to yourself, to them, they didn't put that much into it. They got the dog for someone else for cheap. They get 8, 9 puppies at $3,500. That's a chunk of change for someone. You know what I'm saying? They even have to say 6 puppies at $3,500 a pop. For someone, that's a chunk of change. You're making money. We forget breeding dogs. A lot of people, to them, is like printing money. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. You're putting something that someone wants, and they sell it for cheap. They get it off their hands. They make some money.
That's why at this point, just like they said, they're doing the one breeding. They use one breeding, and they're keeping it like.
But they're
gonna keep their stud at the higher price. They're not gonna drop their stud price. So whoever using that stud,
but most likely, this is what I think. It's not your
you're not
co-owner.
gonna sell your puppet for no.
But it's not your co-owner that's doing that though. This is my thing. You have to pick and choose your co-owners carefully.
Yeah.
Example: if I choose you as my co-owner, that means me and you share a dog. Why would I choose to co-own a dog, a valuable dog, with someone who don't understand the value of what we got going on? Right. That means if you're using him on your bad females, you got badass females you got, and you making puppies, I'm gonna co-own with someone who's gonna be selling their puppies at a high dollar. Because by the time I decide to go use them on my females, if my females are of equal yoke to yours, and we're producing the same badass puppies, I'm following the lane too.
But the thing is we're talking about producing puppies, right? So if I run my stud to my 5 females, right? I'm not going to be as concerned with promoting the stud as I am going to be for promoting the puppies. So if I limit how many times you can use the stud, I also put in your hand that you're going to have to promote the stud more, because you're not going to be able to make all this extra money off these puppies. Mm-hmm. It makes you work more, because a lot of times we all know you sell this dog as a co-own. They never work the dog. They expect you to do every single work. They don't promote the dog ever. That's why it's important who you co-own with. And so that way, if I only let you have 1 litter, after you have that litter, you have to work that stud in order to continue to make your money. So I think that's another way that the UK is looking at it, is like, we're selling the dogs to America because we want you to be able to promote the dogs and
I'm going to tell you this. We were selling the dogs to the UK before I went to jail. 2015, we were sending dogs to the UK. Now we buying dogs from the UK.
Well, the issue is this: it's the American concept, the complex. I'll say this: when you have money, when you're blessed enough to be wealthy and have money, what do we consider to have money? Buying foreign cars, buying Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Ferraris, Lambos, Rolls Royces, right? That's what everyone wants to see, right? And then I think the only car that's kind of American, besides the Cadillac Escalade, right? Maybe a Tesla if you're a little bit weird, right? But for the most part, that's it. Everything is buying foreign. Had you, Ox, right now been in your backyard mixing up, Cataloo hounds and stuff, and try to make Merle, people like, man, I ain't buying. He over there mixing Frenchies with them funny looking dogs over there. If you was back there mixing the poodles with the Frenchies and trying to get it down packed, making some floodles and stuff, guess what? People ain't gonna fuck with it. Like, man, he over there mixing them dogs. They mixing dogs right now. They're shitting on people for mixing Frenchies with Pekingese to make the smaller, long hair Frenchies, right? Or Frenchies. But they'll go to the UK, right, overseas, and they'll give them money. They'll send half a ticket almost and buy whatever they got over this to bring it over here, where I just think it's so completely idiotic. Why can't Tracy be at home, decide to say, you know what? She's brave, she has space, she knows what she's doing. Let her mix the dogs around and make her own hairless or her lion's mane or whatever was going on right now, right? And people buy it from you. Versus, I know like now it may not be a popular thing, but I'm always been pro-American, right? It doesn't matter if you're black or white, we're Americans, right? I'm pro-Americans. I find that we're like have this self-hate where if he did it, we ain't gonna fuck with it. It don't mean nothing. It's no good. Gucci, it's like the clothing, same thing. You make some hot stuff, people don't want to support it. It's like some guy on Facebook makes some clothes.
It go like this here, like just like a rapper. A rapper could be rapping for years, and you get that one chance, and he blew. You see what I'm saying?
No, but the difference with that is that's homegrown. Yeah, you are competing. Yes, you're gonna have to compete. It doesn't make it easy. What to me makes no sense is the fact that imagine you're in Louisiana. They don't support nobody from Louisiana. Yeah, but if a motherfucker from New York starts rapping, we gotta buy his album. But hold up, there's Louisiana rappers right here. There's Houston rappers right here. Why we can't support none of the good people here, but we only appreciate stuff that come from New York or California or somewhere else? That's my whole point. Like the whole fluffies and the hairless thing. If Tracy, who's been breeding hairless cats, right, was just 2006 something, years, right? If she decided she understands the hairless gene more than most people out here, right? If you decided to incorporate it into your Frenchies and you did it on your own, you would not have had the same success or as successful as the people overseas sending over their dogs, sending over their hairless.
Even with that quality. I could have a top quality Frenchie hairless, but if I did it myself, it has no value.
You know who we talked about too? Is a lady out here in Texas, Kim Evans. Kim Evans, right? Kim Evans been riding the fluffy train on oldies. I remember back in the day, way back, I'm talking about like 2000. I know for us when me and Waylon was breeding, like 2009, 2010. Sending her all the fluffy stuff because that's what her thing. She was big on that mammoth. I don't know what she was calling at the time. That was her thing. And then me and her talked about this maybe like, I can't remember, maybe 2014, some sort, I believe, about fluffy Frenchies. And she was on it. From before, people was like, what is that trash? I'm not fooling with it. And she was on it. She had a little group thing going on. She was on it. She just now, to me, come into the light or being people shining light on her more recently. But this woman been on this fluffy. I'm talking about making,
And you know why she became so popular? Because of drama.
Yes. Because of drama, yes.
For her to become popular.
Yes. I used to see her at the dog shows. And I think she beat me one time. I forgive her for that. I forgive her for that one. We had 3 or 4 shows, and I've been victorious, but she beat me one time with her dog. And this is when I was breeding oldies. But real nice lady, and she's serious. Like she flew. I remember one time we talked on the phone and said, "Hey, I'm about to leave out of town to go see my dogs, my fluff." It's like she was going like to Brazil and stuff, and she was going to Ukraine herself. And this is when like no one had it. But you know what? It's because she was the one bringing them over here. Because it was Kim Evans. But people took so much pride with buying their dogs from the UK. They were all over the place. They was buying them ugly, long face. They buying 60-pound Merle Frenchies.
Right.
60-pound Merle Frenchies over from the UK. But people here were doing their thing, and people like, So that's the issue. I think we do have that kind of an issue. They may be more serious as breeders because they have so many hoops to go through. But we have serious breeders here. And I just think we don't take them for real. I think social media as serious. We don't.
I feel like everybody wants to be the number one or the first, And
because
I never
first is easy.
The thing is this: I don't understand is why go spend money at a different country when it's here. Because I feel like, of course, it had to come from somewhere, right? It's like the velvet. Velvet came from UK or China, wherever it came from, and they have it here, but they hate that man so much that he got it. Oh, I'm not gonna go ahead and use this dog. I'm gonna go ahead and use it from over there. Why? Why go do that when the trouble's already here? Just use it, and you're gonna spend more money because you got something going on with that person, and you rather go spend it over there.
Because Ox is right. I think there's an illusion like all these dogs were produced in the UK when I know the English Bulldogs, all the English Bulldogs were sold over there. And everybody was like, Tracy, you need to jump on this train with these English Bulldogs. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. They sold them over there, and now they're like 50,000, 20,000 co-owns to get them back here, and it's the same line that came from here.
Same line that came from here.
Yeah.
But it's just like with the Miyagi line. That was homegrown. He made that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can get it.
But that's the bully. The bully is a little bit different. See, the American bullies, that's what I like about the American bullies. I think a lot of the American bullies, your structure of the dog held a lot of weight. You couldn't just have a blue dog and it looked like trash. It's like your color was not able to carry you.
I'm gonna tell you. If I'm gonna say this here, if Frank Bull wouldn't have fell off, ain't nobody wouldn't have been able to touch him.
Yeah, for sure.
It was ahead of their time. They took that hit, and whatever went on between all of them and their co-partner and all that, they sent all this shit to the UK.
But then what their problem
Blue
was?
Moon was the best Frenchie out, period.
But their problem was
And the
interpersonal
first
business
little
problems.
And that's what we're going to get back.
That's why we're leading into that. Their problem was interpersonal business problems. And I think, like right now, as the biggest topic today is about the Frenchie Bowl team, right? With, so we're talking about Marcus and Alex, Al, and
George Mosley.
and George Mosley, right? That's an interpersonal business issue because a lot of it, we talk about the contract, not having a contract. A lot of these people give their money to people who they trust. I trust this guy, and they're not saying I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust people, but black and white should be down there. I saw the fake news earlier today where they were saying, oh, they're breaking up, no more Frenchie Bowl. I think they're doing some restructuring. I think it's honestly.
They said it was funds, but it's not funds.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
They say that the reason that the Frenchie Bowl is breaking up is because of funds, which it is partially because of funds, because funds that are owed to each individual person within the Frenchie Bowl, which is 4 people. But it's more so the values that each person in that Frenchie Bowl held, and they didn't all have the same values.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also, it's like I said again, and I also think...
So do we have a story from all 4 in Frenchie Bowl?
Well,
I have from 3.
Yeah, 3. I think we noticed the problem that we've seen with these guys. One guy is completely, Alex, right, is completely kind of like left out. He's just like the guy over there, right? But he's a part of it.
Because he's not in Texas.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. Alex isn't in Texas, so a lot of the things like George Mosley, Al, and Marcus, they're here in Texas, so they were kind of doing more business together, leaving Alex out. And so they were doing a lot of interpersonal pulling out of the Frenchie Bowl account without...
Yeah, that wasn't supposed... That was really, to tell you the truth, that wasn't supposed to happen from the beginning. Nobody take no money out of no account or no business for the use for personal reasons or nothing.
Let's make this clear so everyone knows like that's watching this, right? Tracy had done full interviews with Marcus Hype from tip to butt about what, from his perspective, what had went wrong and how it started, basically how it started and where it started to decline. And then she did another full, completely separate interview the very next following day with George Mosley from his point of view of what's the issue, how it started and how it went down and what was the issue. So yes, we know some. So this is not like us guessing or speculating. And after we drop this podcast, we're gonna release the full interviews. Yeah.
I gotta say, a spade. Everybody wrong in the situation because ain't nobody
But Alex.
touch no money. But Alex, because he all the way gone. So it should, like I say, nobody won't put it to no money.
But they say that...
Because if I let's say I throw a concert, and I throw it with Eventbrite.
Yeah.
All my money going to Eventbrite.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So, and then the one that I'm selling personal, let's say I'm selling personal, that's accounted for. I'm not gonna take no money out and say, man, I need to go
Buy 2
handle
Huskies.
something with the money. After the show over, split their money.
And then you spend your money on what you want for yourself. That's your money.
So the issue is a lot of people in that situation, their money is funny. And I mean, George Mosley admitted that he was on hard times, you know, and so George Mosley was specifically asking, hey, can we take this money out? I'll recomp it at the end of the Frenchie Bowl. And, you know, the three people were like, okay, we're going to buy 2 Huskies.
But
And
I understand. All right, now you made a point. You said, all right, that should be a document. All right, I took this amount of money out, right? Mm-hmm. So, however, before we split this money up, automatically you 8,000.
But that's where the issue is. We're lying because George Mosley feels like they're lying about the books, and that money, that he should have been paid more, and because he wasn't paid more, he doesn't feel like he owes that money back. And then we're going to fast forward that's not.
Well, Ox, hold on, and we're starting.
That's not doing real. Listen, that's not doing real business.
That's what I was saying.
That's not doing real business nowhere around the board. Cause at the end of the day, somebody. That's why a lot of people careers don't go where they're supposed to go at. Cause they're doing everything. Got to go on a straight line when you're doing. Like I said, if I'm throwing a concert, everything got to be on a straight line. But at the end of the day, when we come to the table, we're going to get our money. Like, let's say it's a percentage, because my partner and them, they didn't put on big shows, and it's a percentage. Let's say you put in 100, you put in 200, I put in 150, you put in 250 on this show. Now, it's uneven. We can't say, we're going to split this 4 ways, right?
Well, it's going to be split 4 ways,
percentage.
But it's going to be a percentage, 4 different percentages.
And that's another issue is, with the Frenchie Bowl, they never agreed on who was going to get what percentage. And so now, people were putting in more percentage, and then all the people were expecting 25%, when it was never on contract that we were splitting it 25% evenly.
Everybody, if it's 4 people and we putting on a dog show, everybody better bring 25,000 each.
And if they don't, then you get less percentage.
You're gonna get a less percentage automatically.
But this was going on.
Only way it's 4 ways is like that.
Where I think the hairy business started from was when they had outside business that had nothing. That's what I say. It was compounded debt or owing and IOUs that compounded and was canceled and compounded that made it so confusing. They have purchased, well, Mosley, I guess, from it looked like from the interview, when I look at the interview, from what I saw, it started from the van. That's what it looked like. From what I saw, the first set of problems, it seemed like it started from the van. And when he wanted to purchase the van, he looked for a partner with him on the van. I'm a little bit confused on where it started from.
So what happened was with the van, so the group of Frenchie Bowl people, they were hanging out and they had discussed getting a van. And George Mosley took it upon himself to make sure he was the first one to do it, and he went and bought the van, assuming that he would bring the van back and everybody would split it up. But when he brought the van back, people weren't okay with the van because he didn't take them to go pick the van out. So when he brought it back, he would put himself in a hole, and then they started using sponsorships to try to pay for the van. And then at the end of that said that your sponsorships don't really matter. You still need to come up with your end of the money
for the van.
Yeah, and so that's again, how does that correct? If I use your sponsors, right, and your sponsors pay for half of the van, but then I still say you still need to pay your half of it. That's not really how it works, is it?
No, because it's like you took it upon yourself to lead forward in getting something. You know, because at the end of the day, you probably thought in your mind, well, if I get it first, I'm going to go.
No, but hold on. My sponsors pay for half of the van. How do I still have to pay for half of the van?
But don't forget, let's say, let me give it this word. This is where, not how to mathematics, that question said, do you do multiplication or do you add the parentheses first? This is one of those situations. Let's say the van was 30 cash, right? 30K. 15 and 15. Had he put his 15 in, right? That would have been 30 and the van would have been paid off. Now your sponsors come into the play. When the sponsorship comes in, doesn't matter who gets, like I said, that's a problem with co-owning. It doesn't matter who got the sponsor. Like example, if a stud, we co-own a stud, right? It doesn't matter who got the client. If someone comes and just say we co-own Dapper Dan, and was it 10K is a stud fee or something? Let's say someone comes in and you bring the customer, they come pay the 10K. We split 5 and 5. If I brought the customer 5 and 5, it doesn't matter who brought it, right? So, instance, they bought the van for $30,000. He paid 15. He paid his 15. When the sponsors come, they're supposed to split the sponsor money between the two people who got the van.
That's how that goes.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't take all the sponsor money.
Right.
But
So
I think it was under the ingredients that your sponsors paid for your half and my sponsors paid for my half. And I think that's where it kind of became misconstrued is I guess one had more sponsors because at this point the Frenchie Bowl was booming and they rode that. But at the same time, if we both have the Frenchie Bowl, aren't those also my sponsors as well as your sponsors?
Well, I was under the impression from listening to it, I thought that Mosley put his half of the money on the van and he was waiting for more funds from Marcus to come in. And I think they both but that's where I got a little bit confused because he said he's waiting for the money from Marcus to come in. Marcus said he didn't have it, and he was going to hit him back with the money eventually. I think Marcus' line of storying was Mosley got, like you said, Mosley got the van, and how did it go again, Tracy? That he was expecting them to come chip in. So Marcus had gotten some sponsors, and I guess Marcus was under the impression that his sponsors covered the other half of the van, and that was pretty much what it is. So I think again the first mistake between them both. Assuming and like, hey, I need half on the van.
Yeah, simple.
And if you don't have the half,
it don't
that's
matter
pretty much
if
it.
He didn't take them to go get the van. If we discuss we're gonna get a van, and I find a van, and I go get the van, come back with the van, I got it. This how much I paid. Bam, break it down.
I think the issue was the quality of the van. So he went and bought an $8,000 van, and these people were expecting to get a big quality van. And you come back with an $8,000 van that has to be immediately put in the shop. We can't even use it for the Frenchie Bowl because it needs to be put in the shop. It's broke down. So of course they don't want to use the van because you went and bought the lowest quality van and tried to get the most return back for it.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want any part in this low quality van.
And then we find out that the first van was a silver van. So that's another thing too. There's a little bit of confusion. We were told at one point it was the black van was the first one. The silver van was the second one, but it's actually the other way around. The silver one was the first van, and that van was already done.
So he didn't even present Al and Marcus with the first van. He already pocketed the first van and then presented them with the second van under the assumption that that was the first van.
And now it looks like, this is what it appears to be right now. It looks like from Marcus' hype side, because we discussed it, he's under understanding that the van that's out right now, the black van right now, half is his, half is Mosley. The van, from what we're understanding, what we know now, half belongs to someone else, half belongs to Mosley. So this van there's an extra half. Someone owns the van, half the van also, but don't know about the other person. And today, the two people came together and come to agreement. Hey, I own half the van, you own half the van. So Mosley don't own none of the van. So it gets a little bit
And I think it's more than just the van because also with the Huskies, there was an extra person involved in the Huskies that nobody even knew because when Mosley presented the idea to Al and Marcus about the Huskies, they were not under the impression that the guy that they got the dog from was also a co-owner on the dog. And also the guy overseas, Tony, didn't even know that they were on the dogs. Yeah, so there is a bigger issue, and now there's not even any paperwork in it because all these extra heads are put in, and nobody's even only person that knows everybody that's involved in these dogs is George Mosley.
So there's a silent investor in there.
No, the guy that created the dog sold the dog to George Mosley, and the reality is he didn't sell it to George Mosley. He sold it to Marcus Hype and Al Boza. They're the ones that sent the money there for the dogs to come here. And the guy from over there thought that George Mosley came up with the money and thought that they were co-owning it together, and come to find out there's two other heads on the dogs.
Yeah, I heard a story like that too about with Charlie bringing them dogs from China. He had somebody that was a silent investor that nobody knew about it because they're the ones that paid for the whole dog to get
Hold
his shit.
Hold on, excuse me. Now, rewind that back.
See, it's confusion.
You said.
So there was so what happened is George Mosley presented an idea to a couple of people about these two Huskies overseas. They said they didn't want to deal with the dogs. They didn't want to do it. So he presented the idea in the car on the way to Tampa. Hey, Marcus, did you talk to Al about these Huskies? And Al was like, no, I didn't know about these Huskies. And so they said, well, we need 8. So Mosley had told Marcus they needed 8,000 for the dogs, which isn't even true with 6,200. But anyways, Mosley told them, you need 8,000 for these 2 Huskies. We'll send these Huskies over. Al will take 1 Husky. Marcus will take the other Husky, right? These are 2 females. And then at this time, according to Al and Marcus, they were going to be able to use Smushy, which is also a co-owner on Mosley, to be able to use this velvet and produce some of the first in the world, right? Huskies with the velvets, they were going to be some of the first in the world. Well, they get these 2 dogs here. Marcus can't house one. So George Mosley actually takes one of the dogs, and Al takes the other dog, right? So they go ahead, they say, it's time to breed these 2 dogs, because as soon as they get here, they go into heat immediately.
So look, 10 minutes here. It was the Huskies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 8,000 to transport them, or 6,000 to transport them here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm saying. The people knew Marcus and Al?
No, they had no idea that Marcus and Al were even involved in the agreement. Till the puppies dropped and they were ready to start selling the puppies, then they learned that the other partner, which was a 4th head, didn't even know about them 2. And they didn't know about him.
Because everything was going through
Mosley.
All right. The middleman, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, this is a case where you said we were about the middleman. This is a case where the middleman is at fault, right? The middleman didn't notify that other people was involved.
There was no communication.
There's no communication.
Nah, really, I see it different because,
Okay.
all right, let's say I got to connect overseas. They want to send me some dogs, right?
Yeah.
They want to send this to me.
To
Yeah.
you. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're connecting with the connect, and you're the plug.
But you can't afford to get the dogs
It
here.
don't matter if I can't afford it. If I come and bring you an idea, look, $8,000 to get them over here, and we're gonna work something out. That's for me. My people sent this to me. They didn't send this to you.
Now, this is
I'm only asking you. I'm giving you
opportunity.
I'm giving you an opportunity. $6,200. I'm gonna get them over.
So,
here.
okay, so let's just fast forward.
Let's go.
So that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you tell me, or so they presume, you have a stud, Dapper Dan. You
Yeah.
tell me, okay, but you co-own Dapper Dan. But you tell me we're going to be able to use Dapper Dan on these 2 females because they're your females, right? Again, you just said that those are your females. They
They're
came
my
over here for you.
female, yeah.
And you even got one at your house. So why is it that your partners have to pay the $18,000 full on the stud fees on your dogs? Because that's what he did. He told them, hey, you get these dogs here, we'll be able to use Smushy, we'll be able to produce the first in the world. Then when it comes time to do the breeding, he says, no, my partner, Tammy, wants you to pay the fee. They say, well, how much do you want us to pay? He says, well, you need to pay $10,000 because that's what the price of the stud fee is, and you need to pay $8,000 because that's what the price of the stud fee is. How come I'm having to pay your part of the stud fee on the dogs that you have that I already paid to get here?
So run that back, that part again.
Okay.
It gets so funny. And then secondly, too, let me speak on real quick with his thing. If you are bringing a deal to someone, that's one thing. But if we're already partners, let's say me and you we're high end together, right? We're already partners. You don't hustle your partner. You get what I'm saying? Like if, hey, we gotta play. I got some dogs coming to me. I'm gonna approach Tracy. You say if it costs me $6,000, I'm gonna put some tax on it, right? That's fine. But if it's me and you together, actively working together, and let's say, hey, we want to buy this dog together. Okay, we're gonna buy this dog together. Hey, go find out how much the shipping is. You go find out the shipping, and you come back and tell me a different price. That's not doing business. That's you hustling your partner. It's 2 different things. Now, different if you got a situation already, and I just pull up and you say, hey man, how much to get on this deal? Well, you could have got the crazy deal of a lifetime because you are a high-end fluffy ox. That's your deal. So you put the tax on it. That's how much it's gonna cost to get in on this deal. But if we are you together or working together, say, hey, we're gonna buy this female together. All right, cool. All right, ox, call the dude and tell me how much the shipping is, right? And then I go leave. And then you find out the shipping is $6,200. All right, I'm just gonna tell August 8. We partners. You already lied to your partner already.
And then also that 8, it didn't just come out of their pockets. It came out of the friendship bowl. So not only did you lie about the price of the thing. You lied in order to get more money out of the Frenchie Bowl, which is all of y'all's together.
You know what I'm saying? You
and
hustle.
then hold on. So then you fast forward. So I pay you this $18,000 because you tell me that your partner August says I have to pay this fee.
Well, back up. All right, Smushy, his dog.
Which he co-owns.
Or it's co-owned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, co-owned.
Yeah, $18,000.
So all right.
See, you see the confusion? It's they did too much business on top of business on top of business, and the first business, which is the van was never cleared up. You get what I'm saying?
And so there's bad blood, kind of animosity a little bit, and it just continued to
You know what I'm saying?
grow.
It's like you now have business.
So, all right,
So now you put yourself in debt.
Smushy is a co-owned.
Co-owned with Tammy Ziegler, right? What name
Yeah.
Is? Ziegler or some sort. Yeah, from pronouncing
co-owned. The Huskies is what?
Another co-own
With who?
with Al and Marcus.
And no.
And another person
Who they
overseas.
come from?
Somebody overseas.
Moses
But
not
that
even,
person-
Moses
but-
don't own nothing on the Huskies. That's their dogs. He's not even a partner in it.
He has one of the Huskies at his house. So let's also
He's
say,
whooping the litter.
No, he had the dog at his house. Al has one female. That female didn't take. Marcus could not house the other dog, so Mosley took it upon himself to take the other Husky, right? So when they bred the Husky, he charged them $10,000 on one and $8,000 on the other because the stud fee is 10, and they gave him a discount on the second one, which was 8. So he charged them full price on a stud fee for a dog that he had in his own home, on his own stud. So he didn't even charge half of the stud fee, which is what he should have done.
He charged the full.
He charged a full stud fee on the dog.
I understand why he did, because let's think about it. If he charged a full stud fee, I'm going to charge a full stud fee on a dog that's not mine, because that means I'm not
But
getting
it's
any
his
puppies.
dog. And the
the
female is
husky?
his too. The husky's his. So the husky's supposed to be split evenly amongst the three ways.
That one
Not
husky.
four ways.
That go back to the people.
But I thought you just said that the Huskies were already owned by Al.
No, and Mosley. Mosley was a part of it. Obviously, he wasn't going to sell them the dogs for $8,000. They weren't under the impression about the guy overseas. It was supposed to be 3 ways. In fact, it's 4 ways.
Because it doesn't make a difference. Know why? Because think about this. That's why the partners need to know who
And they're
else in the
also
business.
paying-
Because if you if you think about this, if you got a business, right? You think it's you three. You guys expecting to split $100K 3 ways, but let's say out the blue, he said, "Hey, no, there's actually 4 of us. Hold up, is $100K 4 ways?" That messes with your money because you're thinking like, "Oh, I thought it was only 3 of us." Nah, it's 4 of us in this. Now, that's what seems like it's happening. Someone else popped up, this other person. Oh, we're not splitting it 3 ways. We're splitting it 4 ways now. That's what the problem
But
is.
up until that point, so say this, when it came to the vets, when it came to the whelping, when it came to everything, they split it 3 ways. But at the end of it, they're only getting it 4 ways. So why did they have to split it 3 ways? It should have been split 4 ways, which is another thing that they have a misunderstanding with this, because if I tell you there's 3 of us, we're 3 gonna split it.
Yeah.
Us 3 have to put in
We
DNA,
split the bills,
health, whatever.
yeah.
Then
But
we
when the
also
money
split the
comes,
profit
now
too.
it's 4 ways.
You get a,
Yeah.
Well,
it go back to the percentage.
It goes back to the person who brought the business. That's his
Who
fault.
set it up?
Because you're trying to have these 2 people thinking it's just us 3, and the whole time
It's actually
you're
4.
actually dealing with
And the
someone else.
person
And
overseas, and the person overseas is not even under the impression that there's 2 more people involved. So the person overseas is thinking me and you are doing a
Yeah,
deal.
that's
And in
what I'm
reality,
saying.
there's 4 people,
And
and
that's
I'm
where-
thinking there's a deal. So I mean, it's
And that's where it's wrong, because it's like you're selling me something and you're in the impression it's me and you, but I'm over here bringing other 2 people in and you don't know about, and they don't even know about you.
The only time that's
So whenever
okay.
the money comes, where's the money going?
you have
No.
to split. You need to split yours 3
That's what I was
ways.
gonna say. That's the only time it's okay. Well, let's say example. You say, "Hey man, I want to go in with Ox to get this dog. I don't got the whole 50K." I said, "All right, let's see. I'm gonna give you boom boom some money, right?" Now you guys might do. I'm a silent partner, so you 50-50, right? He gonna split his section with me because I gave him the bread to go in with you. That's different. That's a situation that ain't got nothing to do with you. You don't.
Yeah.
He could be borrowing from his brother.
still getting your
His-
50%.
Yeah, you still get your 50%. But if you under the pressure, hey, 50-50, and then I pop up, hey, no, haha, nigga, it's 3 way.
But you're under the impression it's 50-50, but in really it's not 50-50. You're only getting 50% of 50.
Yeah, so that's where you're like, well, hold up, that's crazy. So that's the issue. That's where I think it went wrong. No, sorry. That's the second way it went wrong. On top of.
But before that, before the Husky deal, there was a Panda deal.
Oh, now this
So
one.
the Panda deal was the very first deal that went sour.
This story, this situation, depending on when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, this sounds bad.
Like I say, all of that is the communication of the dealing. Because at the end of the day, at some point, everybody got to know what we gonna deal with. If I bring you a dog, and I'm like, this is what it is. Then all right, we gonna have to sit down now. All right, like you say with the situation, you got Alan, Marcus, and you got Mosley, and then you got the people overseas. All right, the people overseas, no matter what, they get their half, no matter what. Marcus, Mosley, and Al, they gotta deal with that 50%.
Mosley has to deal with it because Mosley's the one that did the bad business. Because when I told you about the deal, I never told you that the other person was still involved.
Oh, nobody ain't gonna just send no dogs. That's common sense.
But he made it seem like he made it seem like they did because he already sent $1 million over there. He said I already sent $1 million over there, so he gave me a crazy deal. He was just trying to get it over here to start getting these dogs popular. So some people were believing that your name holds so much water that people are basically giving you dogs for free.
And now a person is in UK.
So let's back up. So with the Panda deal, there was, this was a first in the world thing. So there was this Panda going to be sold. And at this time, Marcus and Al had a falling out because there was some issues with the first Frenchie Bull, such as the van, where Al's name was taken because Al's the one with the money, goes ahead and fronts $25,000 for the Panda. He's under the impression that $25,000 is going straight to the overseas to put on the deposit to be able to hold this dog. Well, they get a phone call, hey, Marcus, are y'all going to buy this dog? And Marcus is like, yeah, we already put the deposit in. They're like, no, George Mosley never put the deposit down on the dog. So then they end up selling the dog out from underneath them with the deposit already put down. So then it takes him 3 months to come back up with the $25,000 that you owe the person because somehow instead of putting the deposit down, you spent the money on yourself or whatever you spent the money on.
Yeah, see? So now, Mosley, when he told us, his part, the way he told it to us, was that there was like another or a second middleman that kind of held up the progression. And what he said was, I believe what it was that I think there was extra money on top.
Yeah, it wasn't really $25,000.
It wasn't really $25,000. And that's why that held up getting back the whole 25 back to Al, or in that idea of that sense of getting him compensated, was the fact that he did say he did use some of that money for other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Because he was falling on hard times.
Yeah. And that he used, I guess, the extra money that wasn't the deposit money. That's where I was a little bit like, well, it's like going to the store. If I give you money to go to the gas station, give me some chips. If you go to the gas station, no chips, come back, give back the money, right? It's very simple.
You don't buy a different set of chips either.
Yeah, or
try to sell me a different set of chips.
Exactly. Or just say, but why? What happened to the money? And it sounded like he said he did say he used part of the money in that whole circumstance.
But also, when they put the deposit, when Al put the deposit down, they started taking lock-ins on this dog. So then they're already under the impression that this dog is coming, and they're all three of them are taking deposits on this stud. Come to find out, the stud was never even theirs to begin with, and he had already sold the dog to somebody else. But they were still under the impression that this deposit was put down.
Yeah, and they were locked in. Now, even though there was a drastic fee, a different price, and the purchase price was completely different. I think the purchase price was like somewhere around $35,000, $40,000 for the dog, and the dog allegedly was sold for $180,000 instead. So I don't think they're gonna get the dog, but there are black and white. There's text messages from the guy from the China, the contact in China, right? That was in contact with the owner. That the reason he said had they given the deposit, they wouldn't have entertained the offer of $100K from the other buyer. He would have been like the dog would have been unavailable because they already received the deposit.
And because George Mosley had already done so much business with the guy, they would have had no issues with it.
Yeah, but that's what this thing about it. That's what Mosley said. Now, but Marcus has text messages from the gentleman that he showed us, which will have all the conversations and the majority of the text messaging. We'll have it included somewhere along this line. We'll have it posted up, or we'll cut to it. We'll cut to the text message. Yeah. So he showed us text message, and also Tracy confirmed and verified that the text message throughout the interview, all the documentation. So we'll cut to those.
I have a lot of it on my phone too.
Yeah. All right. So you have some. Yeah. So he shows text message from the guy from China stating, hey, had he given the deposit, they would have stayed locked in, and it would not entertain I guess there was a $100K offer. They wouldn't have never entertained the $100K offer, and they would have had their dog at the price that they agreed upon, and that's how they lost out on that particular deal. And then
had to return all the money that they received.
Yeah, and they would have returned the money obviously they received. But what also was an issue was there was an issue because he spent some of the money on something else. There's unclear what it was because he didn't say specifically what, that he did spend some of the money, and that's why it took some time for them to even get the money back. But then from what Marcus was saying, that he was trying to get the guy or force the guy to get another dog that I guess Mosley had of some sort in exchange
because
instead of getting the
Mosley
money.
told Al that that's not how it works. That once you put the money up, you don't get the money back.
But if the money never made it to them.
So then he tried to sell him a separate dog.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if his intentions were to ever put the money over there and not to just try to sell him a dog.
Oh.
See, but where I come from, if once that is gone, it's gone. He brought it back.
No, but this is my thing. If I gave you a deposit to give to the guy to get a dog.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You gave me $25,000. I didn't get that dog, and then I said,
I bought you something else.
I bought something else, and
But the thing is, are you gonna be? You make the decision.
But he only gave you the money.
No,
because
he didn't buy something else.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say you gave me $25,000 to put on a dog. I used it. I did something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where I come from, I used it. I did something. What's up? After that.
Give the money back.
No, I ain't know what's up. Man, I took that.
No, you ain't taking nothing
that's
from me.
bad business, though.
Exactly.
Oh.
This is what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting.
Oh, like, no, I'm do something like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. He came back and gave it back to him, right?
Yeah,
3 months
eventually,
later.
like 3 months later.
But this is what I'm saying.
But
like,
you didn't
it's
use the money
crazy.
for what you were given to.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 'cause even now we just talking, and it's like the little bumpers are coming like, nah, you ain't take no. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something about it. Nah, you don't take no 25 from me. And like, what's up? What do you mean, what's up? Like, we're gonna have a hand
But
or
at this
something.
point, if I invested this $25,000, if I trusted you with my $25,000 and you don't use it correctly, why would I continue to do business with you?
You're right. Yeah.
If I gotta force you and say I'm gonna strong arm you to get my money back, and that's the only reason I get my money back, why would I continue?
Oh, you had a strong arm to get his money back?
Yeah, in order to get my money back.
But think about who it is, though. This is Al, right? And the people he's dealing with is George Mosley, right? He's known for doing good business. He's known for being popular. Generally, consensus, right? Being popular. You know, he's out there, so you're not thinking it. I think a lot of times the things that go wrong, and you don't think is actually something's going wrong. So you're like, man, all right, the situation went bad, and I think, like I said again, you saw what happened. How we heard the story from Marcus, right? It was like, man, bury him, bury Mosley, put him in the dirt. But then we talk to Mosley, and we hear the story from Mosley. It's like, oh, it's not as what we thought it was. But then this is what kind of guides what we're talking about today. Then there's a stickler. We talk to Al, well, Tracy, the one who's the main person doing the interviews, to get the unbiased viewpoints. We talk to Al, and we get another viewpoint. And so now we've discovered there are more than just, yes, I think they're all wrong because they all made mistakes in this business, but I think there are two people in this, and then one guy who just don't know what the heck is going on. He's just like, what the fuck's going on? He's in New York, he's like things is happening before his eyes without him.
Because that issue is they're using the Frenchie Bowl money to buy a lot of this stuff. Like with the $25,000 that came directly out of Al's pocket.
It's like a bank, basically.
But from that point forward, such as the delivery of the Huskies, Frenchie Bowl money, buying Smushy, Frenchie Bowl money,
That's Frenchie Bulldog.
Exactly. So then at that point, how are you charging me for the stuffies? And then at the same time, guess what? Alex is being left out of everything, including there's a whole text message thread between a group chat with only 3 people, and Alex isn't in it.
And then, like I said, if us four got a group chat going, and I decide to say I'm gonna leave you out the group chat
And start another one.
and I'm gonna put it to you like this here. For the feds to get a conspiracy charge, it take 2 or more. So if they let me take you out the thing, all us going down. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, no, we gonna talk on the other one. We not gonna talk on the technically with just us 3. We gonna talk with you too.
That's why I feel like this whole situation is really crazy because
everybody I
almost seem like it was
get down to the thing. We need Alex to come
and Al.
Yeah.
we really need Alex because we don't know Alex's viewpoints on the whole thing. Because the thing with Al and Alex is they have other deals going on with big money like the Pinks and stuff. So they have a better relationship than what we know outside of all that.
But I noticed when interviewing everyone else, it seems like no one even mentions Alex in it. Like from your conversation with Al, did he have any like comments about the interactions with Alex or anything?
Yeah, I mean, Alex and Al are pretty close. Like they talk all the time. When they went to Tampa, they included him.
So I guess they're on good terms, basically.
Yeah, they talk all the time. But a lot of this stuff with like the pulling of money was like, well, George would ask, "Hey, can I borrow the $8,000?" And then it was presumed that if he didn't pay it back, it would come out of his end. But then other deals kept coming, and it compounded how much money was owed at the end to the point where one party there's no way he's going to be able to come up with that money.
Yeah. So basically, at the end of all this, had been no. I look at it as like almost like embezzlement, right? If that wasn't going, I know you have another word. We said extortion, but I look at it as
embezzlement. It is.
Yeah. So I look at it as embezzlement. If no one fooled around with the money, Frenchie Bowl did break even. Maybe because they didn't make the wisest choices because they was more, which is I understand when you're in that realm of you just want to go, hey, we want to have excellence and all out, like buying $10,000 screens and they got these couches and all the type of things going on in the trailer. So they did a lot of things that financially didn't make sense, but it made sense to enhance the experience at Frenchie Bowl.
The brand.
They said they would have broken even if that money wasn't fooled around with these other business deals.
See what I know from these shows, there ain't no gap. Now I'm not saying just the dog show. I'm saying as shows period. You don't take no money out because you don't know if that show it might rain that day.
Exactly.
Like you can't count like if I do a dog show with somebody, I know he got money. You got money. I got money. We doing a dog show. So what we put up in the beginning. That money that we don't even care about. I'm not gonna put my last into.
So nobody really put any money out.
Cause it's all kind of yeah. See that's the thing. If nobody didn't put no money out,
so I think the only thing
they try
that
to
was
build
put
off
out.
it. Everybody janky promoted at the end. Similar playing.
I think the only money that was actually put out was just to hold the venue, and then from the venue point, they used all the booths to actually pay the rest, and that's what they do a lot in the dog industry. Secure the spot, and then everybody do the booths, and then they pay for the rest of the venue from the booths, which is what they were doing. But it was under the ingredients that I bring in the same amount of clients in booths, you bring the same amount of clients in booths, you bring the same amount of clients in booths, you do. But it wasn't happening that way because one person was more focused on pushing My Breeder's Life than pushing Frenchie Bowl, and made it seem like My Breeder's Life was Frenchie Bowl.
And it seems like there's a whole lot of stress based on listening to this. It seems like there's a whole lot of headache. You hear the whole story in length, it sounds like a whole lot of money is involved, which it is. But money that's
a recycle.
it's like
keep getting
it moves around. So it sounds like about 20 grand on the table. You're trying to figure out who it belongs to. 18,000. Who it belongs to, who's owed what. That's what it seems like is going on. And then we bring in this other kicker, which is a Tammy, right? So now when you bring in this other, what was it, about 100K investment or 150K investment on her end, right? When you hear this, it's like, whoa. Yes, she is the co-owner of this particular dog, and there's some discrepancies about whose name is on what paperwork, right? That's true. But she still is the co-owner of the dog, and I'm assuming if they were to stud the dog today, they should be able to pay for the dogs and whoever uses this stud, and she should be able to get her half of the money continuously if this.
But guess what? It's 3 ways. The dog is co-owned by 3 people. Found out that today.
On Tammy's side or Moses' side?
The whole deal was, I guess, that there's a third party involved. So it keeps popping up that these extra parties are involved. So somebody's probably getting a better deal than what they're saying by including a third party.
Out of money.
Now my question is this: how many ways are they splitting the money?
It's supposed to be 2 ways.
Okay.
One person was under the impression that it was supposed to be 2 ways, and then come to find out it's 3 ways.
My question is this: who thought it was 2 ways?
I think Tammy.
Tammy believed it was 2 ways.
I think.
Okay. So this is the
2 ways with what?
With the dog.
The stud fee on Smushy.
Smushy.
Because Tammy is the co-owner
Because Tammy
of Smushy.
originally
She's
invested.
the co-owner.
Yeah, Tammy.
Her
Yeah.
and Mo the co-owner.
Yes, that's what it's supposed to be. Appears to be. Now, I don't know if Mosey has a silent partner or if Tammy has a silent partner, but it's understood, as from what we can tell through the interview, no one else mentioned this through both interviews. No one ever mentioned that there is more than 2 people. Yeah, on the Smushy co-own. Now this leads us to another issue where the husky females who've been bred to Smushy, right? They have a husky female with puppies, right? Bred to Smushy. That they can't register the litter, right, or anything.
No, that's something.
That's not it.
So what happened is they had 2 females, right?
Yeah.
And one female didn't take, and they have a second female. The second female is at Mosley's house, right?
And who's she bred to?
She's bred to Smushy.
That's where that
And the issue
18,000 came from.
They're also saying that some of these puppies were sold and nobody else is even being informed. And there was a video posted online where Mosley was saying, oh, this dog's going to go really well with your other dogs. Now, this dog is owned by 4 people. Their idea is 3 people. But Mosley's saying that none of these dogs are sold. These dogs are born before the Frenchie Bowl. And he's saying still to today, Husky, Velvets, Big Ropes and stuff are still not sold. And they're not getting any money out of it. They haven't got any of the $18,000 back that they've put into it. But then we fast forward and find out that the $18,000 was never really pulled out of anybody's pockets. It was pulled out of the Frenchie Bowl. So it's like a lot of...
How many puppies they got?
7 puppies.
So why they don't go get their puppies and
Because George's saying that the dogs belong to him.
They what?
That they belong to him and he wants his other dog back now. So he wants the whole other female back now too. And what he did is Marcus and Al said, since we paid this stud fee, you run Smushy to another dog that came in the heat that is of Marcus's. And it was under the understanding that Marcus and him would split that litter. But Mosley wants in on that litter too because he feels like it's his. But if they paid full price for the stud fee, why do I still owe you money and dogs on the stud fee? Why is that fair? And then Mosley is refusing to register the one dog that he got out of this breeding out of 18,000, one dog. He's refusing to do anything with because he feels like he hasn't been given enough money from the Frenchie Bowl. Even though
he owed money
to the Frenchie Bowl.
To the Frenchie Bowl.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to do anything. And so during this time at the Frenchie Bowl, there was some booths being paid for by, different clients. And whenever you book at the Frenchie Bowl, you book your booth, you put it directly into the Frenchie Bowl account, right? So George Mosley, I guess, had some deals with Tammy and whatnot. And when the Frenchie Bowl came, there was money still owed, so they approached Tammy, hey Tammy, you need to pay the rest of your money. And she's like, what do you mean? I already paid for it. So at this point, it starts to raise a little bit of red flags with Tammy and everybody else. So Tammy starts to question what's going on. Why is my name not on this paperwork? Why are these people telling me that I owe them money? Why is all this going on? So then they contact them and said, well, if all this is happening, did you even know about the $18,000? And she says she was never received any money on any of the breedings. So she was completely left out of it, and he said that he told her, but never really explained any of the stuff.
And pocketed all the money.
Yeah,
But actually, he didn't pocket the money. He still owed the money to the Frenchie Bowl.
Yeah. See, so it's like, again, we're on that line of scumbaggery or maybe just poor or bad business. Because it's like, it's really feeling kind of like, it's leaning on scumbaggery a little bit. Like, hey, there's a lot of, and I think it started off as bad business. Bad business you can fix. You can say, hey, no, I fucked up. I messed up here. Let me put this money back that I shouldn't have moved over here. Let me put this money back, repay this debt, and be done with it. Versus, it seems like there's a lot of...
But he couldn't afford it because he said yesterday that he had already lost $65,000. So
Yeah.
he was trying to make up for his pocket. But your pockets is not everybody else's pockets. So you can't worry about your pockets and screw everybody else.
No, you can't.
Just because you got scammed doesn't mean you can scam everyone else.
That's the thing about it. You can't. That's when integrity comes into play. Remember, I said principle doesn't matter. Hey, you have problems. We understand it. That's cool. Whatever. Pull back. But he did say he told a few people that he's no good for them right now. He says he can't do anything for these people. But I
his
think
30 co-owns that he had.
yes, but that's for those people. What about the people right now, like the person who you dealing like Tammy
But the puppies
Ziegler,
you have at your house. too.
Tammy, or right now the people got puppies. Hey, that's how they're gonna make their money back. You get what I'm saying? People put in their own money because, mind you, Marcus said that they paid on their credit card $8,000 and $10,000 to cover because at the end of Frenchie Bowl, or the day it started, the day of Frenchie Bowl, they were $8K negative, and they had to put everything on their credit card. I think Al put 10 on his, and
It was 18. It was 13 on Al at the end of the day because I spoke to him today. It was 13 on Al and it was 8 on Marcus.
Oh, so it's more than what we
Yeah.
were talking about. Yeah, so that's my whole point. These guys made a sacrifice, and I'll say this: I have to commend them at least for this. They made the sacrifice to just basically.
And they reached out to Alex Lee.
Yeah.
And they reached out to George Mosley, but because George Mosley had been telling Alex Lee, you need to watch him, you need to watch him, you need to watch him, he said he's not going to put any money. So they went ahead and funded all the extra stuff that needed to be funded just so the Frenchie Bowl could continue to go on.
So I will say this: throughout all this headache and all this treacherous stuff that's going on, they at least were able to still pull the show off. So that just goes to show, at least on Al's part, Al and I'm gonna say Marcus. I'm gonna say all of them. I might have to say all of them. Even though some weird things going on, they still came together and still throw the show, because after hearing what I just heard and looking at all of this, there was plenty of reasons as to why this show was not going to go on.
Because that night, the night before the show, there was a lot of animosity already going on, because the Huskies had already been born. There was a bunch of issues there, and they continued to just try to push forward. But I'm going to have to be honest with you. Marcus at the time was still really gung-ho and still really believed that George Mosley was not doing anything wrong. Marcus was very much telling Al, no, you need to trust George, you need to trust George, you need to trust George.
I think Marcus felt like he was going to pull through, and I think also Marcus was saying they were depending on these puppies coming in to kind of like, you know how that goes. Once the money get in your pocket, yeah, all right, lesson learned, let's start over. But I think now that they're at the situation where the puppies were allegedly, possibly, maybe have sold, maybe not, we don't know. The puppies were sold, right? That's what they believe. The puppies were sold, their puppies, that was their female, that they paid the stud for, that they can't get the puppies on, right? And then I think Marcus has another female, right?
Marcus had a female.
Well, one pup that he can't get paid for.
Marcus had asked Mosley, can I use one of the stud fees on one of my females that just came in heat so we can try to recomp some of the money?
Because I remember Mosley had said that it was an 8K or something when he borrowed the money to get Smushy.
The $8,000. That's how he was going to pay it back, was by letting them use Smushy for his female.
Yeah.
But then when it came down to it, he still won't register the litter because he feels like part of it's owed to him.
But this is what the problem. Well, this is the issue. I think the mistake too. You borrowed $8K to go towards the purchase for you to get this dog. The way you pay them back is by allowing them to use Smushy. If that was the deal that you guys worked out, that means those people have to replenish that money back into. That means, example, if he borrowed the AA from the Frenchie Bowl to go buy Smushy, that means Mosley owed the AK to Frenchie Bowl, right? That's the basic part.
And they took that off, actually. I have the breakdown right here.
And so they made a deal.
They did take the $8,000 off because
Okay.
he owed $18,000.
Okay.
And so they did take the $8,000 off from that, and they did replenish. And they also sent him some money out of their own pockets as well.
Okay, so so it sounds like to me. But this is where I think is a mistake. I think that was wrong. I don't care how it worked out. You say, oh, you can get the Smushy for AK. You got the dog. But now the way you get to use, the way I pay off my debt would be I let you use a dog. That means now, yeah, they get to use a dog, but they're going to most likely take the money from that puppy, from using that dog, to put the AK back. Because the AK has to come back. Most don't have to put it back because he gave them a stud fee now, so now he's past that.
But also, do you think that that's fair that they had to pay the full stud fee on a dog that they co-owned?
No, you shouldn't. We actually had this talk on the podcast. If you co-own a female, why are you paying the foot? You're charging yourself to use a dog.
So you're double dipping.
Yes, that doesn't make any sense. If you co-own a dog, you own the dog, and I own the stud myself. Now, if it's an out, think about it.
You have to at least pay your partner, but you shouldn't have charged on your end.
You know what? I think it doesn't matter. Let me give this. If your partner says, "Hey, I don't think you should," that's none of my business. If you have a partner on that stud, because think about this: you own the dog. Now, you can own it with 10 people.
Let's back up. Because you're only allowed to run the dog one time in house, they do have to pay their end of the fee.
But that's another thing too. He said he didn't agree to that.
Exactly, and that was a big falling out with Wyatt and George Mosley because Wyatt feels like he did agree to that.
That's where we're confused. That's where the confusion comes to play. But it doesn't. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think it has anything to do with Marcus and Al. That's not their business.
No.
That's between Mosley and his stud owners. And I feel like this: if we co-own a dog, and you have a stud, you let me use the stud. The problem with your stud, your stud owner, is your business. Now you may say, "Hey, man, I gotta pay I have to pay my partner this stud fee. They're half the stud fee. So let's say half their stud fee is $5,000, right? Well, okay, I can see how in the name of us working together and splitting all the bills down the middle, right? That is a bill. I can't use this dog without giving this lady $5,000. That's the hiccup I'm in right now.
And that's what they understood. And that's why they paid it.
So then, hold on, but it shouldn't have been that. No, it should have been. It should have been $2,500, $2,500. You know what I'm saying? That's the deal about it. That's the deal, because we're supposed to split everything down the middle. So my point is, if there's a bill on the table, right? You can't add your fee on the dog that you own, but there is a bill on the table. $5,000 is the bill, and hey, in order for us to get the papers on this dog, this lady wants her $5,000. All right, well that's a bill on the table. Well, shoot, we splitting the bill. You get $2,500, I pay $2,500. Yeah. That's how I see it. That's how it's supposed to be. That's 50-50 on the bill to your partner.
I don't see that though. I see maybe Marcus should have paid $2,500 and Al should have paid $2,500, but Mosley, he should have just given his part for free. So
that's what I'm saying.
Because if I own the dog, right, I might still make you pay their partners. If that was our agreement, right, you might still have to pay my partners, but y'all should have split that because I'm already giving you my portion all the way for free.
No, but the thing about it, you're not giving nothing. That's just the way wrestlers, the rules. You're not supposed to. Mosley shouldn't have charged them to use his own studs. So you're not giving them anything. Let's say, example, if he owned the stud outright, he's not giving them nothing. Hey, I own the stud, so that means we use the stud for free. That's just the bottom rule,
but
right?
Mosley's saying, hold on, but Mosley, because we sought to defend Mosley. Mosley is saying that money that was used on the stud fees came out of the Frenchie Bowl, which in turn would be his portion of the dog's stud fee as well. So that's where the books on the Frenchie Bowl need to be more explained, because Mosley's under the impression that he did because the Frenchie Bowl is part of his too. But if that's the case, then Alex Lee needs to also be brought in on these deals because he's also part of the Frenchie Bowl.
Yeah, but that's the problem thing. He's like left in the dark. It looks like to me that money is moving around and doing deals, And it doesn't sound like, again, we don't have any maybe other things going on, but it doesn't sound like he touched any of the money for the Frenchie Bowl. He's just like, okay, we did this, we promote the Frenchie Bowl, and it seems like these guys that's here to actually.
But we don't even know how much. Maybe Alex did get more than everybody else. We don't really know how much Alex really touched because
they're saying that no one got any money actually at all of this. It's
no,
like
that's not true. I seen where there was $6,000 given to George Mosley from the deal.
Already?
From the Frenchie Bowl. Yeah, there was six. I have it in my phone. It was like $61.25.
Who's giving it? Who? How did he get it from the Frenchie Bowl?
Yeah, they paid him because I asked him again today. I reiterated, did he get paid from the Frenchie Bowl? And there was $61.25 that was paid to him from the Frenchie Bowl.
So why did they pay him if he owed the Frenchie Bowl?
Because they said, okay, because it was $18,000 originally, right? Then they did the $10,000 for the first breeding, which left $8,000 for Smushy, right? So he needed to come up with $8,000. So then he owed $3,000 for the boost, right?
Yeah.
But he was saying because he paid for those couches, he needed his money back as well.
Yeah.
But there's other issues in this as well because from the year before, there was a videographer hired, which was Preston.
Yeah.
He was hired to do a videography for the Frenchie Bowl. But when it came time to get the videos, he was told that he was never hired for the Frenchie Bowl. He was hired specifically for George Mosley. So they wanted him to return the $1,500 because there was no shoots on the Frenchie Bowl. It was specifically for George Mosley. Also, there was a song made for the first Frenchie Bowl, which was $3,000, and he needed to pay that back because those songs were also not for the Frenchie Bowl. Those again specifically were shouting out "My Breeder's Life," so they wanted him to return that. So there's like all this extra money that needs to be returned.
Okay, and that's why Mosley said to us, the reason why he's withholding all the paperwork and not signing anything, because
he wants it in black and white.
That, and he said that's his only leverage that he has. Even though it is owed to them, he admitted yes, it is owed to them that they get the paperwork for the dogs. But he says that's his only leverage that he needed for the kind of basically forced them into either returning. He wanted
he wants
compensation.
the other female back.
Yeah, he wanted the female back. He wanted compensation for the couches and the trailer. So, again, I don't think, except from what I'm looking at all this, I don't think this is something that you can't. It's small money. It sounds so big, but it seems like it's just a laundry list of bad business, a laundry list of deception, a laundry list of not notifying, because misunderstanding once, maybe twice, I can understand that. But just deal after deal after deal, secret partners, hidden agreements that's not broken properly, compounding debt, borrowing the money and doing it gets so complicated. Even with us, even though we have footage and we can sit here and listen to the footage and go back and forth, it's still confusing about how this money is being moved around. And I can see, depending on where you're standing at, you can see how someone drastically was scamming someone. Or if you stand at another angle, it looks like maybe
George Mosley was using his popularity to be able to get the things that he got, and he felt like he needed to be paid for all the work that he put in, and he wasn't being paid. So again, this is where contracts need to come into place, because if I say, hey, August, you lock in one of my English Bulldogs, my studs.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a percentage. I give you 20% of the whatever stud fee you get for the dog. That's an agreement that we have, and that needs to be paid every single time. If I'm not doing that, or you're not doing your part, how can you expect to get paid or me to pay you?
But you know what though? This is another thing too. I think when people make these contracts, the number one mistake that most breeders make with us running and having a law office is that people understand these contracts need to have beginning and an end. Then they have terms and penalties. So that means if you use this dog outside of our terms, this and this will happen.
So don't you have a law firm? Don't you have a law firm?
Yeah, well, we did that deal ended this past summer.
I was going to say, because we offer legal services, contracts.
Oh, you can always refer them to. They're really great guys that work there. So, but yeah, so basically that deal ended this summer, and obviously, we're moving into the season of Pro Canine Clinic, where we have excellent reproduction services and also general health services for
And education.
dogs and education for dogs. So we're moving into that season now. But yeah, this whole situation is just a gross negligence.
How do you feel like it could have been prevented?
I think it could have been prevented by self-control. I think not indulging in so much money moving. It seems there's a lot of money moving and trafficking and balancing when it's not really there.
Do you think that maybe the Frenchie Bowl should have been separated completely?
Oh, 100%. I think even Ox, he was really adamant on it too. The Frenchie Bowl is a separate business, separate money. They should have never dipped in it. They should have never touched it. They should have just left it alone. If they didn't have the money for the van, that should have been, if they wasn't a part of the van itself and it wasn't for Frenchie Bowl, it should have been a private situation only for Mosley. And if Marcus and Mosley had a private deal about him paying half, like he said, it should have been between them. And if Marcus didn't pay Mosley for his half of the van, that van should just wait. This is my van. That should have been Mosley's van all the way through and through, and then call it a day. It should not have been pushed or forced. I think Mosley should have. That's you kind of take it on the chin.
So if we have a deal on the thing, and I say I'm gonna use my sponsors to do it, and you agree that it's okay for me to use my sponsors, do you pay me back the money if you now take the van?
Yeah, because think about it. If I say, but that's the thing about it, it's about the agreement. But right now, the issue we're having is a lot of he said, she said, and he's saying I didn't say such thing. And again, in general terms, I do think if I put up half the money if I bought the van with the intentions of you agreeing that you're going to give me half, and you couldn't do it, and you say, hey, listen, I'm just going to go get sponsors, and I'm going to have these sponsors put some money in your pocket, and that's going to be my half. And if I agree to those terms, and I'm okay with it. Now, if I say, hey, no, buddy, you need to still give me my half of the money, and if you bring sponsors for this van, we're going to split the sponsors like we're going to split, and I'll take your portion, and I'll that's what I think was happening, because when you're using the sponsorship, I think it's real tricky. I think if you get, because let's say hypothetically, Mosley paid for half, Marcus paid for half the van, right? That means that's their van. When anyone brings in sponsors, it's going to be under the assumption that we split all sponsor money, right? So what should have happened is if Marcus didn't pay for his half of the van and Mosley's going to let him use the sponsors to pay for the van, right? It should have been Marcus can take his half of what he brings in as sponsors towards paying off what he owed Mosley. That's what it should have been if they were going to go that route.
So I think that one of the problems with all that was that Marcus was assuming that he was going to get paid for some of the things that he was doing, and that some of that would have at least went towards the Frenchie Bowl, such as the videography that he'd done, because he did at least 7 of them. He went out of his way at 11 o'clock at night to make sure that he was videographing these all these breedings and stuff, and he was thinking in his head, I'm fronting you smoke, I'm fronting you this, I'm doing all this stuff for you. It's coming out of that, but then at the end, I still owe you all the money. And so I did see the messages where Marcus was like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? And Mosley's like, no, that's not how it works. You need to come up with the money. So Marcus is like, I'm doing all this stuff for you to kind of cover my end. If you say, I can go wash dishes to pay my food.
Communication. If you are either too scared or too timid to communicate whoever you're doing business with, you should not be doing business with them. Communication is key. What he should have done, let me give an example. If Ox owed me a TCI or something, right? And I say, Ox, man, bro, listen, can you bring me some smoke? Let's say Ox has some reefer or something, right? No, I don't want him in trouble. Hey, Ox, can you bring me some of that crawfish boil you be making over there that you be selling? And he bring over here, he bring me $200 or $300 worth of crawfish boil, right? That's what he do. That's his livelihood. Not his old lady cooking it. This is what he do. He's a cook, and that's what he sells.
It's understood that he came out of his pocket.
No, it's not understood. Hey, he gonna say, hey, all right, August, I owe you on that. I owe you $200. So you know what? This is $300. Just take the $200 off from there and just give me $100. That makes sense. And he said it up front.
Now,
but if he just show up at my house, dropping off crawfish boil every weekend, just dropping it off, and at the end of the year, I'm saying, at the end of the month, I'm saying, hey, I'm trying to settle up this bill. He just say, oh, I dropped it off. It's like me giving you something. If I'm gifting you new shoes at the end of every couple of days, and at the end of the month, I say, all right, Tracy, you owe me for TCIs.
How do you think that he would feel if he found out that somebody was giving you money?
Oh, I was going to get there. Okay. I was pacing it. So I don't think it's if you just giving your services, but don't make it clear. Hey, I'm doing this to pay off what I owe you. That has to be upfront clear. You know what I'm saying? Because we even here, same thing. We've done PCI and stuff, and Mo gonna settle it out. Hey, we're gonna settle up what we owe on progesterone testing for his dogs, whatnot. It might be other business going on where hey, I owe you on this, I owe you on that. All right, Mo, just give me the $100 and don't worry about other stuff because I actually owe you for something, right? We settle it off. But I've never been scared and say, oh, where's my money? And say, oh, I was like, what? That's was their problem. He didn't communicate.
I think a lot of times it's ego too. The ego is so big that they don't want to even say like, "Oh, you owe me money," so they keep letting it slide until now, their feelings are hurt.
Yeah, until they're angry. That's the thing about it, and that's why I said there's no room for principle. If you did business the right way, it keeps the problems out your way. That's the way it is. If you set up front, hey, I dropped off $200 worth of crawfish boil. All right, I owe you $300, so take this off the bill, and it's understood right then and there, and so now it's understood.
Be like, hold on, don't bring me no more crawfish.
Yeah,
you know.
Now I know. Okay, or now I don't want no more crawfish. You know what? Yeah. I'm good on that. Just bring the cash.
But how would you feel, Ox, if you find out that you're bringing him all this stuff, and he's not paying you because he's trying to help build your crawfish company? So August says he's helping you build your crawfish company, but the whole time August is getting paid for this crawfish. Yes,
now I'm selling, not just, let's say you just dropping off the crawfish. Hey, that's my boy, and he loves his food, bro. I always got a little extra. I'm going to drop some crawfish off of him, right? I don't never pay you no money. You'll never want you never ask no money from me. But then you find out that you help me out.
Paying him to pay you.
I'm over here putting in little bowls and buckets, and I'm selling the crawfish $10 a pop. I'm making $1,000 off.
No. People are specifically giving you the money for this crawfish, thinking the money is going into his hands.
That's what I'm saying. He's giving me the crawfish because he just say, hey, I'm helping my boy out. He loves this food.
But that would be okay if you said, I'm going to promote your company. You can do whatever you want with that. But if you're promoting his company, but the people are under the impression... No, it was promote the company until we start making money. Remember, he said he's supposed to... Remember, the guy was saying what Preston was, he was supposed to be, we're going to do this free joint until we start charging, making money. But they're saying... But remember, it was revealed to us that in actuality, he was making money already. He just ain't saying nothing about it. And people were specifically giving him money, $625, saying this is $625 is for...
he was charging for his services, but he wasn't paying the dude for the services. You know what I'm saying?
Because he thought it was...
It's like someone paying. It's like someone paying me.
You don't even think anything of it because you think we're just doing it for free. But the whole time he's collecting money on your behalf.
Yeah, like someone paying me for crawfish bowl, and I'm going over here getting it from you. All right, my ox, when we start making money, we're gonna start making some money, but not knowing I'm picking it up from you because someone just paid me for a whole catering service, right? That's the whole thing. That's what's going on. And I think once one person found this out, there's gonna be extreme animosity going on. It's like, hey, I feel like it's like
but
almost
that's why Tammy is upset because Tammy paid for Wyatt's booth $500. Come to find out, the Frenchie Bowl paid for it. But Tammy was giving George Mosley the $500. She gave him the $500. She also paid for some kind of videography stuff. She paid for several things out of her own pocket and gave it to George, but they turned around and was using the Frenchie Bowl money. So George was double dipping in the money.
Yeah, it looks. You know what? The facts from what we're seeing right now, it looks like that. It looks bad like that. It looks like that for sure. I think it does look like that for sure. Like I said, that's why I said this.
And that's why Tammy is so upset because there was $150,000 shared. She keeps putting all this money. Now you owe her money. She's not even doing the. She thinks the booth, the Frenchie Bowl booth, is covered. Yeah. She gets to the Frenchie Bowl booth and people are approaching her. You owe me money. She's like, hold on. I already paid for this.
Yeah.
Then they find out that it's not one booth. It's, let me tell you how many booths. It's 1, 2, 3 booths that he collected $1,500, $375, and $2,000, and he pocketed all that into his own pocket.
Yes.
And everybody else is receiving the money and putting it directly into the Frenchie Bowl, and George Mosley's putting it into his own
pockets. And then wondering like we're short on these booths. We have these booth reserves.
People were showing up at the Frenchie Bowl saying, I paid for these booths, and they said that there's no recollection of you having any booths.
Now my question
I was there and I seen it myself.
So that's even So hold on. He was taking the money for the booth. Now, did these people even get their booths?
They did get their booths because there was extra booths because some people didn't show up. But if it would have stayed sold out like it was, some people were going to show up and they would not have had a booth at all.
What about the people? So hold on. That's even worse. That means people showed up thinking that they're going to get into their booth, but maybe someone else is already there because someone else must have paid the other guy and got the booths, right? And just because they only got booths because some people just didn't show up at all to their
I mean, and I know one person in particular, because they were next to me, were very upset about the booth that they got, that they had paid $2,000 on, and I paid $1,500 on the same booth. But that deal was done through George Mosley.
So pretty much George Mosley
That's
just
bad
pocketing
business.
money.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Pocketing money and not securing it. I can see if he pocketed the money and then
They were upset.
And then guess what? He secured their booth. So even if he did take the money,
'Cause
at
I
least the
remember
other
being
customer was still solid. So he was basically leaving the new customer, the person who gave him the money for the booth, they showing up thinking they have a booth.
And there's somebody else there.
There's no booth for them. That's even worse. That's bad. Now you're
So they were sold this booth over here, right?
Yeah.
They're online promoting, we have this booth right here.
yeah.
They get to the dog show, they're giving this booth all the way over there. They were charged $2,000, like more than me, and they're put off in a corner, and they're upset. Makes the Frenchie Bowl look bad, but they're not even the ones that did the deal. Somebody else was selling them just random booths.
See, this is something, the issue with this too is that so much stuff is so much to unpack that even this part, we didn't even get to ask him about, well, what about the booth? What people who came there and didn't even get the booth that they paid for? Like, how do you explain
But
that?
see that what I'm saying? There's too many people involved. Supposed to be one person take care of all the booths.
But that was supposed to be,
That's it.
Al was supposed to be
One
paying for
person.
all that stuff, but they had no idea that this was going on.
Yeah,
they
but
didn't
it's
know
too much.
until the Frenchie Bowl day
Yeah.
that this was going on.
Because let's say Tracy's the one supposed to be taking care of the booth. But people run up to you, hey, let me give you some money, give you some money, let me give you some money, give you some money, give some money. So they give you money for these booths, even though she is taking care of all the ones for the show that people go the right way. But people see you, they know you, they know, oh, Ox, they know Ox is part of the show, so they give you the money. So basically, we show up to the dog show, you tell them, hey, this is your booth, that's your booth, that's your booth. They show up to the dog show. Mind you, Tracy's the one who's handling all the booths, right? She's collecting the money, she's marking it off. Who booth belongs to what. So now, but mind you, Tracy don't know anything about the money that you're getting. People showing up, hey, where my booth at? Where my spot is at? Or
They're thinking that these people are in debt. They're thinking that
those guys owe, so they lose their booth.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They
And
thinking
then they
like,
get there and they're like, no, that's not
You
how
ain't
it works.
pay. You ain't
we
pay.
did pay,
So-
and that is my booth.
So the thing is, why was Mosley approached from people to pay him for the booth?
Because Mosley's part of the Frenchie Bowl.
yeah.
So somewhere down the line,
Every single one of those
Somewhere
people,
down
all
the
four
line-
people are supposed to sell booths. But when you do sell the booth, you're not supposed to collect the money. You're supposed to say, okay, deposit it into Frenchie Bowl Cash App.
don't send it to my pocket.
You're not supposed to send it because
Yeah.
I know
And
specifically
then technically
myself.
lies on you. You know how people come here? People hit me up, hey, what's the most, well, how much to send for Mo? This is Mo's dog. I don't got, that's his personal business. People hit me up trying to give me stuff money for his dogs. And if I say, oh no, hit Mo up. Go on here, this is the phone number, call Mo. Or sometimes I'll call, hey Mo, someone's used your dog. Or they call me up, they hit me online. People have,
Even myself, you even do that with me. And we've been doing business for a lot of years.
yeah. People will hit me up and ask me. So it's like, I'm not going to collect money on something. Hey, that's nothing to do with me. Now, different if somebody texts me and I say, Mo say, yeah, I'm going to send my sister or one of his guys that people that work for me at the kennel, I'm going to send them with the dog, collect the money. That's happened before. I'm going to, because he's a worker, hey, I'm going to collect the money and I'm going to send someone down later on to do the breeding and handle everything. We've done that, but majority of times, I call him up and I say, hey, you got to go shoot that money to Mo. Cash app him, whatever case, I'm not involved in that particular business. He could have said when someone came to him with cash, hey, you want the cash for the booth? No one, hey, listen. Or even if he did collect it, first thing,
It's
hey.
the same thing with Jaden and you. So when we show up here,
Yeah.
we assume that when we give the money to Jaden, that the money is going directly to you.
Yeah.
But if we found out that Jaden was actually pocketing the money, and you say, Tracy, you never paid me the $200 for my TCI, and I say, no, I did pay you the $200 for the TCI. I gave it to your person that's supposed to be collecting the money. No. You are supposed to deposit in my account, not his account. How am I supposed to know where I'm supposed to deposit?
That's not your business.
Exactly.
Because you came, you saw the person. You look at the Frenchy Bowl flyer, right? I just saw it online here. The Frenchy Bowl flyer. I see 4 faces on that flyer, right? I see Alex, I see Mosley, I see Marcus, and who else we met? Alex, and Al. We always forget Al for some reason. Yeah, we see Al, right? I see the 4 people on there that this is their show. So if I walk up to one of the people, one of the owners of the show, right? Hey, I have a booth rent. That's not booth rent, a booth fee, whatever we call it, right? That's it. You're done. You did your part. Now, if they decide to run off with the money or do some crazy stuff amongst themselves, that has nothing to do with the customer at all. It's just sad that instead of it brings in new victims. You know what I'm saying?
But luckily, there were booths. Luckily that there was enough to be able to cover it where people weren't making it a big deal, because this is where the sabotage against the Frenchy Bowl, because say I show up, I pay my $2,000, I get there, I don't have a thing. I'm going to then get on the internet and be like, I paid $2,000 and y'all don't even have a booth. Now I've sabotaged your company.
What I paid for, or not even worse, not what I paid for. That's another thing too. Not what I paid for, because it's like if it's a $500. If you pay $2,000, that means that's a premium spot that you're looking for, not to end up in the $500 section. Which I'm going to assume I'm assuming there's a $500 section.
There was, but this was a $1,500 section.
Okay, so my thing is that I do think that's a little bit, again, what causes this issue is different. We have problems amongst the 4, right? The squad amongst the 4. But when you do this, you now bring in new victims, and guess what?
Because of that,
it's victims.
It opened up the door for them to start having conversations with Tammy. Because before this, they didn't really need to have a conversation with Tammy about any money being spent. And that's where George really messed up, was when he involved his partner.
He involved his partner when he withheld the paperwork. Because that's the
no, but before they didn't know about this. They had no idea about this. At the Frenchy Bowl, all this had happened. The puppies had just been born. They were like skinny little things, right? So at the Frenchy Bowl, they approached Tammy. Hey, Tammy, you need to pay us some money. That was when the conversations they started having with Tammy, was when certain things started to not line up. Because before then, they weren't having conversations with Tammy at all.
Oh, it wasn't.
And that's why, like yesterday, you remember, they were like, well, why are they having this conversation? Is it okay for them to reach out to Tammy? And you said specifically, it's okay that they reach out to Tammy because Tammy was working with them with the booths.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing. You're in proximity with this lady. Think about this. She is the co-owner to the dog you just used. An equal partner. So if you guys both own the dog, all right, but Ox is the guy I really talk to for the most part, right? But you show up too. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Lexi, what's up? What's up? I mean, we're talking. There's a reason for us to talk because I use his dog, right? I've used his dog. There's a reason for me to talk because, hey, man, you didn't pay for the booth rent, the booth fee, man, for the thing. You kind of owe the booth fee. There's a reason for me to talk to you. So obviously, we're human beings. You're going to discuss some things. And I think the more personal information, I think they did have a dialogue with this lady, but I think the more personal stuff, where it got more serious, is when you withhold the paperwork. Let's say I've been calling you, Ox, calling you to get this paperwork, but you're not really trying to make this happen for me. You're not trying to sign the paperwork. We got an altercation. So what's going to happen? I got to go talk to your partner. Maybe your partner might talk some sense to you. Hey, Alexa, man, I did this, and this. This is the problem, man. I got these dogs. They belong to me. I paid.
And I know Mo. He's had this happen before when he purchased the dog. There was a lot of stuff in it, and Mo made it right.
Yeah, and then
Mo made all the paperwork right, even things he never got paid on.
Yeah. And then so you're saying, so if you guys own the dog, me approaching your partner like, hey, bro, I paid this. I gave you guys $18K. I was told that the $18K was for you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to the people who I gave to the people, the entity which owns this dog, that money, allegedly the money or services, whatever it is, that's just confusing. Was it $18K cash? Was it services? Was it these weird deals that's going on? But nonetheless, it was $18K to breed the 2 dogs. I'm going to talk to you. And then you're like, $18K? Fam, I didn't
even know you did a breeding.
Or even worse. right? So now,
I didn't even know you owned the Huskies.
so
actually.
now, guess what happens? I start talking some more. Like, hey, bro, I'm going through this. I'm going through that. Then you find out they feel like they got cheated and robbed too. You know how it is, misery-like company. We start talking about all the bad things that's happened between us, and before you know it, now all your business is out there.
And that's why it hit the internet.
Yes.
I feel like this whole situation with Mo is that he thought
Mo
that,
or Mosley?
Mosley, that he thought that he can get away of cheating out people money here and there, you know, and at the end,
But in his impression,
falling where it made him look bad at the end, because it's too many things of money was being put in his pocket for the boost, money was being pocket for, you know, the stud, money was put in his pocket for the females, and it's
but Mosley feels like that it was okay because
he's the one that's doing all the work.
Because his name, because he put the 17 years into the business. So that's why we're kind of confused. It's like, I was speaking to somebody earlier, it's like, so Ox has a big name, like Mo has a big name. So if Ox gets a deal for 50,000, right? And Ox tells me, hey, you get the deal for 20,000, but you say, hey, Tracy, it's 50,000. And I say, okay, I pay you the 50,000. But then I find out that he only paid 20,000 and I'm upset. Is that bad business or not bad business? Because reality is I'm also paying, which we need to have a better understanding is, I'm paying for the partnership with this person. I'm paying for his name. I'm paying for his promotion. I'm paying for that. And I think that's where they needed to have a better conversation is, yeah, you're paying the 8,000, but you're only paying the 8,000 because I'm getting the extra deal. I'm getting it. But because he wasn't having transparency, it was causing all these issues.
Right.
There has to be transparency. Yes, we understand you've been in the business 17 years. Yes, we understand that you're up here and they're down here. But you need to have these conversations with your partner. If you are partners with them, it shouldn't have been an issue for you to speak to them, explain to them and say, hey, you know, you are paying for me. You are paying for what I have going on. And if you want to work this deal with me, then you have to be okay with the 50,000. And that's where it's not bad business. It's legit business. But also people are going to be confused because it sounds like bad business when it's not.
Yeah. I got 100% agree.
Yeah,
And I also think, again, I think a lot of back talking too, the NDA stuff is a good thing for a lot of these breeders to have. Like, hey, whatever business deal between you and you and him should stay between you and him, because a lot of breeders, that's why a lot of people are scared of co-owning. I know we talked about this a while back, and it comes up a lot, and a lot of breeders don't understand co-owning. You have to be real specific, pick the people who you're dealing with wisely, and I think co-owning can be a great thing if everyone do their part, follow these lines, and I think also it's like a marriage. Don't bring outside people into your co-owning, because what happens is the deal that Mo might do may not be the deal that will work for you guys. So I've seen it actually the first Frenchie Bowl, right? Where a gentleman, one of the people who we know, went to the Frenchie Bowl, talked to some people, was explaining his business and telling the deal, and they all felt this way and felt that way, felt this way, or you got ripped off this and that. But then when you sit back and you put the business public, it's like, man, you a fool. So this guy nearly threw away his cohesive deal, which was actually making him a good amount of money, because listen to other people, because that deal wouldn't work for them because they don't generate the amount of money that it takes to run that deal. So basically me co-owning, let's say, a female with Ox, right, who is out here, he's dropping fluffies, quality fluffies left and right.
He's posting every day. He's staying up 24 hours.
So guess
hustling.
what? So a female, which normally other people might say maybe only worth 50,000, coming from him, doing a co-own with him may be worth 70 because it came from him. So doing a co-own with him, maybe a co-ownership deal.
And also with the agreement that Ox is going to do most of the work. You don't even need to post the dogs. You don't got to do anything. Just raise the dogs, get them the age, and Ox is going to do everything.
So the same dog buying it from him for 40, shoot, if I do a co-own with you, it might be only worth 40K because we split everything in the middle. I sell my own puppies, you sell your own puppies. But then again, I might spend 70 or 80K with Ox, almost double the price, because Ox said, hey, I'm going to put my stamp on it. I'm going to put my brand on it. I'm going to stand behind it. And I'm going to sell these puppies. So at 8 weeks, all your studs, all your puppies are gone.
This Vermont co-on come with, all right, let's say you buy a dog from me.
Mm-hmm.
for, let's say, 40, 50,000.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure you get your 40, 50,000 back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
The initial.
Because you believed in my program, and I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna just say, "Oh, you got to go on with me." It's done. You hear me? You go on, do what you. I'm gonna make sure I make your money back first.
But what if you can't? So say you get a.
It's not guaranteed.
It's over.
No.
It's not guaranteed.
But no, I want to have
I'm
a
gonna try.
conversation. I
It's
want to have this
over.
conversation and put it up on the. What if you sell me a dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's my job to get the dog working, and I can't get the dog working, and we both lose money. It's not your fault anymore, right? Because some people will still say that it's your fault because you didn't get the dog working. I mean, at that point, sometimes you can't always get that 40,000 back, but you're going to do what you can to try to get the 40,000.
I ain't gonna lie. I speak on female because I don't got no co-owners with no male dogs. All my co-owners is gonna be female, and it's people that I choose. Look, here you go. Like really, my co-owners be the dog that I'm really keeping, but I can't keep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say here, how much you got? You got 30, 40, and I'm gonna send that to you. That's I know when I breed that, that's something I'm gonna want to keep mine. I'm gonna sell yours, but mine I'm gonna keep, and I'm gonna do the same thing with that puppy. I'm gonna send it to somebody else. We're gonna co-own it, and we're gonna work it like that.
But that's where good business comes in.
Yeah, I do good business, but it ain't no guarantee that I can make them no money. People that buy dogs from me, I post their dogs on my page. They have their litters, I post it. It's up to the consumer. Cause it might be, I might have puppies nobody don't like the ones that I have at the time, but
They might be the it factor right there. They might be the first at that time.
Somebody else might want something else.
The problem is that people expect to get that money back off of one puppy.
Nah.
And it ain't like that because, say for instance, me and you co-own a female, right? And we do everything half, and the time comes, she only has one puppy. Hey man, what we gonna do?
But let me tell you what somebody did. August has done.
Where's my money at? You know what I mean? Hey man, it's part of the game. We can't blame the female. We can't blame the stud. It's just part of nature. She only had one puppy. This is what we're gonna do.
It's the inherent risk of the business.
Either we keep this puppy,
or we sell it.
And wait for a year and a half later, or we could sell it and split the money.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
You pay 50,000, we could only sell the dog for 20 bands. Hey, you get 10, and we still got another breeding down the line.
Couple of more breeding.
We still got more.
Yeah,
so maybe the next litter she gonna have 5 puppies.
And
hey, you get 2, I get 2. What we gonna do with this extra one? Either we keep it or we sell it and we split the money.
Yeah, it got
But a lot of people don't
listen.
I
got a first time dog owner. Period. A lady. She got a co-own. She got a co-own for me. She got the dog. She don't have to do nothing. She family friend. She knows she family. So her dog had 3 puppies. I used my stud.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I used my stud, and they had 3 puppies. I told her, I said, 1 puppy for you, 1 puppy for me. The other puppy, I'm gonna sell it, and I'm gonna give you half of the money, and I'm gonna take half.
And that's in every one of my contracts. Every single contract I have, I do that exact thing. If it's an odd number, this is exactly how we do. And that's why contracts, sometimes people want 1-page contracts. My contract's like 7, 8 pages because we're touching on every single thing. Co-owners. If we're co-owning, you have to put in the same amount of work. If you don't put in the same amount of work, guess what? We're going to stop splitting stud fees. You also have to step up because I know in this industry there was a very popular stud that was split 3 ways, but only one person was promoting this dog. Well, guess what they did? They backed off the promotion altogether. The stud stopped working. So we have to have a kind of a more understanding on in depth.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said.
Every contract got to be different.
Yeah, and you have to always change it.
You can't have the same because it's supposed to be me.
Well,
and you.
it's a right. Yeah. It's a right to have the same if it applies to you.
But you add stuff.
And I think you cater it to the situation. But I think these people, you can't be lazy with the contract. Like again, I bring up that case online, and I was actually following it so close, and everyone was jumping on this guy's back. Like, man, it's not the seller's job to produce a contract that benefits you as a buyer. It's his job to produce a contract that benefits him. Yeah. So if you receive a contract to do some type of business, right, you're supposed to look over the contract and say, okay, I don't want this. As a buyer, I don't want this, I don't want that, or I want this, I want that, and you negotiate that situation. That's why the contracts are different. Now, you may have your standard contract, right? And you may say, this is how I want it for myself. And you put it the way you want it. And that person agrees to it, great. That's pretty much what it is. But I can look at your contract, hey, Tracy, you know what? I'm just as big as you are, so I feel like we should do this.
Instead of 60-40 split, we need to do a 50-50 split.
Or something different, or this and that. It's like, you know what? You evaluate the situation, you evaluate the customer. And you know what? I believe this customer can hold his own weight. It's signs, or there's track record of his abilities.
Or you might say add $3,000 extra in there, and we're gonna do it just like that.
Yeah, and then you fix that contract up. Or you can say, hey, I don't want no frozen semen on my dog that we're co-owning. Or if I'm buying it from you, I don't want any available frozen semen. And if there is, we find out later on down the line, there's a penalty. If you violate any of these particular terms, I get this, this, and this. If you violate these, I get this. Or this what happens. You have to say, you can't just make up out of the blue, but because you breached the contract, I get all my money back. That's not what's in the contract.
I had that all right with the Frenches I had bought from Shrinkable.
Oh, and you have to be very specific because the courts are not friendly to live animal business. They're not friendly. So that's the thing about it is, so you can royally screw yourself. You need to put the contract in black and white. And a lot of times, what I would do, put it, hey, it can't even go to court. You can't even sue. It goes to arbitration. And you put down the company, because there's a lot of companies, if you're in Texas or wherever state you're in, hey, if there's a disagreement, this is the arbitration that we can go to. So we can't even, I mean, again, I know these things. You can make it so you've agreed that you cannot sue under these state laws, under the state laws where you live at, but you made the purchase here, you gave me the money here,
that's
so you have to follow these rules.
Says.
And you can't even go to court. You have to go to arbitration, and the arbitrator is going to look at the contract like, hey, fam, you agreed. The arbitration is so easy. You agreed to this, because what happens is when you agree to arbitration, you take out the whole law. Because let's say, for example, you sell a dog, in that area, it might be on some, you're not allowed to sell dogs. Let me tell you how someone got lost in the situation. You're not allowed to sell dogs unless you're a licensed breeder in that particular city and ordinance. So if you're in Richmond, and you're not allowed to sell dogs unless you're a breeder, you can lose. Your whole contract is done, because guess what? If their lawyer is smart and savvy, the lawyer can say, no, we discovered he's not a licensed breeder. We know nobody really in Texas trying to do licensed breeding, even though there is a license for breeding, but no one really kind of use that thing right now. But if you live in an area that says you're not, like some parts of Richmond, you're not allowed to sell dogs on public property. So basically, if I met you at the park, which is public property, and I bought the dog and I signed a contract there, if I go to court on something weird, I can say to the judge, we met here, you confirm it. Oh, but know what? There's a city law that you're not allowed to sell dogs on this property unless you're a licensed breeder.
So that contract
now the contract is no good because I sold a dog illegally. So that's why you want to make sure you put these things in here, the arbitration. So the arbitrator is going to look at the thing, because the arbitrator is not a lawyer. The arbitrator is going to look at it and say, well, you agreed to this, this, and this. So he's not a licensed breeder. It doesn't matter. You bought the dog. The arbitrator doesn't have to agree to these things, agree to the general laws. The arbitrator is basically almost like a private judge or mediator. It's a mediator. I would say it's a mediator that says, hey, this is the right thing. This is the right thing to do. And that's what you have to kind of go by with whatever the judgment that the arbitrator says.
I just feel like every contract should be specific, especially on a female. Hey, what happens if this female can't get pregnant? We'll do another repeat, but we'll do it a different way. The TCI didn't work on the first time. All right, second time we'll do surgical.
Man,
hey, on the surgical, we'll find out if her horns are good or not, if she's good to breed. All right, so this dog is no good to breed. So what's going to happen? What are you going to do for me since I dropped this amount of money?
So that's a big question in the industry, is what happens if you sell a dog, because we can't guarantee fertility.
And that's
in my contract, we don't guarantee fertility.
And the crazy thing about it is that everybody feels like, oh, that falls into a year health, contract.
Most people don't breed before a year.
But the thing is this, nobody's going to breed a dog in a year.
Like for instance, like you talking about that part, right? You can't guarantee fertility because there's so many different issues or elements that can affect fertility.
Yeah,
it could be the type of
supplements,
soap. the disinfectant, all that stuff of the environment causes these issues. Now, what you can guarantee, if you want to be a more of a integrous breeder, where you guarantee quality of breeding against birth defects. Let's say, example, they go try to breed this female, she's not taken, they go do a surgical, they look inside, and the female has only one horn, which we've experienced it before. Look inside, the female got one horn. All right, I sold you a female that only had one horn. You technically could have found that out through an ultrasound, but I know something that's kind of weird and rare, but hey, I brought a female with the understanding is breeding, and the female only got one horn. You know what I'm saying?
It's like one nut on a stud.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. A lot of breeders give back their money. I mean, not the money, but replacement of that puppy. But one nut. Hey, I bought a dog for breeding. He only got one nut. So that means I cannot use him, or shouldn't be using him for ethical breeding practices, or no nuts. We had somebody come in here, dog 2 years old with no nuts. I don't know what made them think that the nuts was going to eventually, but the breeder convinced them that the nuts can drop later on. And I'm like, fam, 2 years old, they're not coming. They're not on the way. So they're not coming.
For the third one to drop, man.
Hey, you know what's funny? I had an English bulldog with 3 nuts. 3 nuts. I took a picture of it. It was a hilarious thing. We did a breeding, and the people, they were Hispanic people. It was like Spanish. It was like, hey, does that mean we get more puppies? I don't know what that means. I mean, but yeah, this is a funny fact. I've seen an English bulldog. I think the guy name is Ruben, and he's out here in Houston. And they had other people brought a dog in, and it had 3 nuts.
Let me ask you this, since you're a breeder, bro. If you sold me a female with breeding rights, and in the contract they didn't say nothing about if she was good to breed and all that, you know what I mean? And I breed her, she don't get pregnant. I try to do it surgical, don't get pregnant, come find out she can't get pregnant. You as a breeder, what would you do to help me out since I put money in your pocket on a female that's no good to breed?
I'm gonna give you another one.
Another one, right? Mm-hmm. Or say like, hey, look, man, but the thing is this, are you gonna ask me to get that dog back, or are you gonna let me keep the dog? Since I already had the dog for 1.5 years, I already grew a relationship, or...
Yeah, I'm gonna let you keep it. We going through that same situation right now. We bought a dog. We bought a dog from the UK, a Merle, a lilac and tan Merle, big rope, carrying Isabella and Fluffy. At this time, we bought her like, shit, she almost like 18 months ago. She haven't come in heat yet. What do you think they should do about it?
My female's having silent heats, and I just like randomly seen her swollen and tested her, and she was ready to. We just had puppies off of her.
I had a female. She didn't have her first heat until she was 2 years old. Cardi.
So yeah.
2 years old.
But this is what I'm saying about this situation.
And then the heat was like a long one too.
Yeah. We buying this dog because it's ahead of the breeding process.
And now you're behind.
Now I'm behind because it never came in heat.
Yeah.
So I really feel like I'm old Mo.
So I've seen that on the internet before too. Like in the situation you asked about, that is like, I don't know if I would let you keep it. I might make you sell the dog. If I'm being honest with you, you might have to sell that dog, because I mean.
She might.
But the thing is,
or we might say, okay, you paid $8,000. That dog as a pet is $3,000. You want to keep the dog? Now you're going to get a dog from me that's worth $5,000, and you can put up the difference. That's your decision to keep that dog. That's not my decision.
But that's where it falls, where that's how you want to handle your business. But in reality, in good way of handling business, like, look, man, the dog is no good. I paid $8,000. I'm not giving you this dog because I grew a relationship with this dog. What kind of person would I be like, man, this dog ain't no good. Here, you can have it back. Man, what was the whole point? You grew a relationship with the dog. What you going to do for me? Me as a breeder, if that was to happen to you, I'm like, look, man, I'm not going to give you no money back. I don't want that dog back because you already grew a relationship with that dog. Next litter comes around, I'm going to give you a dog. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a good way of doing good business, because now you be like, hey, I trust this person. Mm-hmm. Now, you want to handle your business like, well, look, you paid $8,000.
Because how can I trust you that you're not going to turn around once you get this dog and then sell that dog as a pet? I can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't guarantee that you're not going to sell this dog as a pet later on. I can't,
But the
because
thing is
most
this,
people,
the
let's
thing
be
is
honest,
this,
hold on,
the
Alex.
thing is this.
Let's see, be
Hey,
honest.
give me the paperwork.
Why would I give you the paperwork?
That's the thing is.
Why would I give it to you? How do I know you're not
going
going to turn around and scam somebody?
If I bought the dog for this much and you gave me the full rights and the paperwork, right? Come find out the dog is no good. The dog now is just a pet. I'm going to go ahead and spay them or neuter them. All right, it's a pet. It's no good to use. All right? Here's the paperwork. I want something else back. Replace what I paid.
That's not how it works.
But see, that's the way you want to do your business. But
Because if I would have sold that dog as a pet, I would have gotten $3,000 for it.
But the thing is, what you would have known when you would have sold that dog as a pet, that it was not going to be no
But that's
good.
why there's no guarantee in fertility.
And
Yeah, you
that's
can't-
the thing, is that you won't know
But
until that
I
time
can't make
comes.
you. I can't say because you have feelings for this dog. The reality is, most people, when they're done with the dogs, anyways, they retire them. So I can't really worry about your feelings. Your feelings don't matter to me. It's right is right and wrong is wrong. If I would have sold that dog as a pet, I would have gotten $3,000. I'm gonna have to take that $3,000 off of what you paid. If you want another dog, I'm gonna give you a great deal on this dog, an amazing deal. Probably take off most of the money, but I can't give you another free dog. I don't give free dogs to anyone, and I'm damn sure not gonna give you a free dog.
See, that's
the reality.
And that's the type of business you want to have.
That's the type of business that we're all doing.
I don't do that. Do you do that?
I ain't never had that situation happen.
What situation again?
Like I said, huh?
What's the situation again?
If I sell you a dog and you pay $8,000 for the dog,
Okay.
and then you find out that the dog can't be bred, I'm supposed to give you another dog because you gained feelings for that one dog. You now get 2 dogs off of me.
No, you give the dog back.
But he's got feelings for the dog, so he's not going to get the dog
This is
back.
what I do, right? A lot of times, the dog can't be bred, but you have to say, but how did you come to that agreement? How did you come to that understanding the dog can't be bred? 'Cause a lot of people say they try. I got one guy who went to Britmore, did surgicals 3 different times, 3 different heats. They did testing and surgical. Tristo, he came down to meet Mo. He contacted Mo to use Astro, right? He didn't know you can go back to the same people and get a rebreeding, but he found Astro online someplace. He contacted Mo, a new business, right? He showed Mo some crazy stuff. Mo said, man, come to my guy, we're gonna do testing. Hey, he came here, we tested the female, we did the breeding, he had like 9 puppies. Mind you, he went to Britmore. You know, Britmore's like the gold standard like of Texas when it comes to breeding, right? He did 3 different surgicals, 3 different testing cycles and everything, and nothing. He came to us, 9 puppies. We tested again, same thing, 10 puppies. We tested, I think we did 3 breedings, 9, 10, 9. That was his, no, so 9, 10, 9, and then we bred his Frenchie, and the Frenchie had 10 puppies. So, in this case, he could have said easily, whoever he got the dog from, man, she can't be bred. She's something wrong with her, she couldn't be bred. 3 times breeding, Britmore, no puppies, surgicals, nothing. So that's why it's one of those type of circumstances. Well, hey, I feel like this. That's how I test a person's resolve, and I've done it numerous times. Hey, something's up with this dog. If you think it's something wrong with this dog, truly, pass me. If you're about breeding, if you're about breeding and you're so serious about breeding that you need to come back to me and you want a whole nother dog, bro, listen, give me that female back, and I'm gonna replace that female with something that's supposed to be, which hopefully will solve your problem,
Yeah, you
make
don't
it work.
get 2 free dogs.
Of course.
But I'm not gonna let you keep the other dog.
That's a real breeder that's gonna be into the breeding. But say for instance,
But if you're not a real breeder,
you're not gonna get the dog
but
back.
hold on,
the thing is this: if I have a female, hey man, I just wanted to buy a female and I just want to breed her one time because it's a family dog now.
that's just the
That's
business,
not my
bro.
I don't want to
responsibility.
be in it. You know what I mean? And the thing is this:
And if she don't turn out, this is the thing too. If breeding, that means you're not serious about breeding. If breeding ain't your goal, and she just don't happen to, hey, she just for some reason she does not able to produce. My thing is this: her not being to be able to breed could be the fact that you use Odoban. You know, Odoban causes dogs to have infertility. It could be the peas in the dog food that causes infertility. It causes all these things. So it's unfair to think that the breeder should carry all the burden and weight because you want to try one time to have some puppies.
no, but we're saying about the dog is no good to be.
But how do
bred.
you know?
How do you know?
Okay, say for instance, like, hey, look, the dog couldn't get pregnant. All right, we're gonna go take it to a vet and get it tested and find out what's the cause. Now, say for instance, the cause is, hey, her horns are no good.
How are they?
Or say for instance, she ain't got no ovaries, she ain't got no eggs.
Okay, now this
You know what I mean?
this is where it comes to the interrogator of the breeder, right? If you purchase a dog from me as a breeder, right? Hey, you got breeding rights as a breeder, And you get a female, and you know what? You bred her the first time, bred her the second time, nothing. You do a surgical, which happens. Some people don't refuse to do surgicals. You do a surgical, open her up. Oh man, there's no horns. By this time, she may be almost approaching 2. Obviously,
But that's a genetic defect.
that's something I would even take the dog back from me. I said, you know what? That's a situation where it's clearly there's not genetic, it's a deformity, it's a difference. Because some of these doctors, you have to be very careful. Because some of these doctors say, oh, genetic this, genetic that. Someone told us one time with a puppy, man, we get a puppy, doxycycline. It cleared up fine. But it was a genetic defect. If it's a genetic defect, anybody can clear it up,
Yeah.
don't clear the issue. So nonetheless, so if you did something like that, I'm pretty sure in integrity breeder that you've had a dog for 2 years, opened her up and found out she had no ovaries, I'm pretty sure she don't want the dog back.
Right.
It's like, listen, that's been your pet for 2 years. You've tried 2 breedings. You did a surgical and discovered that something was wrong with the feet, like that, like seriously wrong. Hey, I'm gonna let you make it. Keep the dog. I'm gonna send you another one. As if you bought it as a breeder, you pay full price. There's no deals in play. Hey, keep that dog. Let it keep pushing.
And then that's what
I personally, I'm not saying
talking
you have to
about.
do it.
No, that is true.
I would do
If
it.
it's a
That's-
genetic defect.
But
yeah.
if you
That's
breed her
exactly what
one
I'm talking about.
time,
That's what I'm talking about is that situation.
but if you
know
bred
what I
her
mean?
1 time, 2 time, oh she's no good, I can't breed her.
Oh yeah,
Like I
of
said,
Nah,
course.
bro,
certain
give it back.
defects
No,
we
I
won't
know
know
that.
until older,
If she's
and
not-
that's when you stand on your business, because I produce this dog. That's when you stand on your business. But if you say, oh, I can't get this dog pregnant, I did 1 breeding and all this,
of course.
there's no way I'm
Of
doing that
course,
for you.
Of course,
But
but
it's funny you mentioned this. We did a podcast with a special guest that there's a problem on the table that's addressing that issue right there. We did a recording that was like last week. I don't want to talk about it now because we're going to keep that close to the chest. We did a recording last week where there's an issue like similar to that on the table, and they're trying to figure out like what is an issue, and it's the same thing we're saying. Well, hey man, there's no doctor, there's no X-ray, ultrasound, there's no physical defect. Now there's some dogs are barren. That can happen. You can have all the parts looking good. Looking
Same thing
fine.
with humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think also this is why it's important to understand yes, there's a product, but when you buy a product, you're buying the person.
That's what makes you a reputable breeder.
That's what I'm saying is who you want to invest your money into.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
If you know that person's got bad business, why would you want to invest your money thinking that it's going to be okay for you? My thing is this: if I know you're doing good business, and I pull you to the side and say, "Look, man, let's talk about business." I know it's not a guarantee this female's going to have puppies and all that. If the time comes, man, what can we do? Before I put money in your pocket, now I'm thinking ahead of the game, what's going to happen. Hey, well, look, man, if the dog is no good and we verify that the dog is no good under vets, on the doctors, and find out that it's no good, hey, man, I'll replace the dog. Keep the dog if you want to. If not, then, hey, we'll go ahead and
That's
set
like
it
going to the
or-
casino though and putting your money on the table and saying, if I lose, you still got to owe me the money.
No, that's different.
I mean, you can't do that. It's a
that's-
gamble,
That's
too.
different because
That's why you need to be specific.
that's what I'm saying. It's got to be specific in
like,
writing. Like,
like-
hey, look, in the time comes, if she's no good, we'll figure something out. Because
like a
at the end of the
But
day,
that's about being like, because I know in the cat industry is a lot stricter than the dog industry, right? You have to be a reputable breeder. So when a situation like this arises, you need to make it right. Outside of contracts, outside of everything, you can't even post in a cat business unless you've been breeding for 2 years. You cannot even post on a cat page, period, without breeding for 2 years and being a reputable breeder. Because like a lot of times in this dog industry, we jump right in there and we're selling dogs and you don't even have a reputation. You shouldn't even be selling these dogs for this high price because you have no stand on this. Part of being a reputable breeder is coming back to that and saying, okay, you bought this dog from me and you want to keep the dog. We need to figure out how we're going to make it right together, how we both feel comfortable. It can't just, because you can't just say, oh no, Tracy, this is what you got to do and kind of strong arm me. We have to agree on something and understand, like, as a reputable breeder, I am going to make you feel happy. We are going to do this. Maybe we might need to share the first litter. Whatever it is to make it right for both of us. But as being a reputable breeder and being a reputable person, you need to stand on every single business you do.
Oh, of course.
But a lot of it, people understand when you're trying to be a reputable breeder, you you work together, a lot of people feel that because I gave you money, you are at my will. The customer's always right.
Yeah.
That saying is not true.
Yeah.
And I think also what people need to fail to understand is like not the customer's always right. Is that I'm trying to put it in such a good way. A lot of people feel like they can have dominion over you because they put this money, they gave you this money, and you can just do whatever they want, however they want it. There's rules and right ways of doing these things. Like I said again, there's respect, and I think also that's why it's important how you treat the breeder's time, how you talk to the breeders, also documenting, following the rules. How many people I know? I'm talking about. I think like almost every breeder buy the dog, 48 hours to go check the dog out at the veterinarian. They go check the dog. They don't want to do that sometimes. They don't want to get the dog checked out, and then they say, "Oh, my dog is doing this. My dog is doing that." Oh, no.
3 weeks later, the dog's got parvo. A month later, the dog's got parvo.
Yeah, like another thing, I get people again and not being knowledgeable. If you buy a puppy from someone and 3 weeks later your dog has parvo, the parvo then comes from the breeder. The breeder will owe you these things. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you can say is this: if the breeder had said to you, then you know what, you can't.
So you got to get that test in 48 hours.
That's why the contract says it.
And I always put 48 hours with 2 different opinion vets. You know what I mean? You could take it back to the vet that I had the dogs checked in, and you could take it to your, choose of vet. You know what I mean? But the thing is this, is that too many people want to be like other breeders and have their way of handling their business. I think everybody should have their own personal use of how to handle business.
No, because business practices across the board.
That's the problem we have now. Because people come there. I did a stud feed about 4 or 5 days ago for hush money, right? The person paid me the full hush money stud feed. He didn't know nothing. I didn't know. He didn't know anything. He was coming to progesterone, and I don't see him because he's usually jaded out there, right? And then he gave me the money, and he said, "Okay, so what do we do? Do I keep half the puppies? You keep half the puppies?" I'm like, "No, you pay me the stud feed." He said, "Oh, okay. So do you walk the litter, and then I come with the puppies, or do I walk the litter?" I'm like, "Man, these are your puppies. These are your dogs. Is she pregnant? This is all your thing." He said, okay. And he didn't really know anything. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think you should, I think people should be knowledgeable. I think people should be, before you start breeding, you kind of know what you're getting into. And I think a lot of that comes from who you spend your money with. I think a lot of people don't understand, like this guy, right? Right now we're talking about, we're a public publication. They talk about Aaron J, right? We see online, he's on there, he's talking about he's proud of himself, he's proud of his accomplishments, right? When people talk trash about him, oh, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that, he's this, right? But guess what? If he's so arrogant, if he's such a bad person, he's such this, stop buying his stuff. That's the best way to voice your opinion about the person. Don't buy his stuff. If you're such a bad breeder, or you're a bad breeder, stop buying his stuff. What it is, we become such slaves to what we want. We'll go deal with people who we know is robbing people. And then cry like, oh, she didn't refund my thing, or he didn't do this the way I thought it was gonna be. What you thought was gonna get? What you did? What you thought? The reason why I buy tires from Discount Tire, because if I got any problems, I can limp my way over that bitch and they're gonna take care of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about them trying to bleed my pockets. That's why I buy from them. Yeah, even though the dudes over here, Aki over here got the little tire shop, and he could throw some tires on my thing for $100 a pop. But guess what? I get problems. They like, we don't warranty nothing. That's what they say. They tell you don't warranty nothing.
No, but what I'm talking about is.
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
And I think we'd have to have some type of uniformity. The problem is this: we deal in exotic animals. We're talking about the dog shows, right? When you go to the dog show, there was a fiasco at the last dog show, the Frenchie Bob, I'm assuming, right? Where the lady who won the dog, Rachel, I forgot her name, right? She had a very rough year, but she won the dog show with her dog, the standard color dog. Everyone was up in arms. They felt like it was rigged, it was this and that, it was fake, blah, blah, right? We deal in dogs that every single one of our dogs are disqualification for the AKC.
Yeah.
None of these dogs are good.
Of course.
Except for that dog, actually.
Except
that was
dog.
a standard dog.
So my point is this: I do feel if you are in a Frenchie Bowl, the Frenchie Bowl, right? I do feel this is a playground for exotic dogs. So I don't think they should show for standard dogs in the Frenchie Bowl. If you got a standard dog, unless a dog, that dog is a standard. I'm not talking about like the little minis and micros. If you got a standard dog,
It's a standard fawn.
go show that in the AKC. Because right now, this is an arena for dogs that cannot, because that dog can be shown in the AKC. These dogs
Can't.
cannot.
Right.
So my thing is I believe those dogs, and also they need to be clear and cut rules. I know they say they have these rules, but they need to be on a site, website, Frenchie Bowl, something people can work towards and say, hey, this is how you're supposed to win. This because AKC got everything like this. You walk up with a wicket. I know different categories. Hey, your dog don't hit that wicket. If it's above or below, you can't. The minor shows, you can't even move on. You can't even show your dog to even make it to no championship or anything. Our thing is, yes, we have to stop lying to ourselves. This is money based.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Yeah.
This is money based. If we chase after new colors and type because people want something different because they're going to spend more money on it. That's just the nature of what it is.
Exotic everything.
Yes, everything's exotic.
Yeah.
So that means
So that's why we got to leave our feelings out of there.
Yes. And I think the dog shows, these are like the Frenchie Bowl and the other dog shows that come around, these are for exotic, because we have to be, don't be frank, we fight over paperwork that don't mean nothing. Like the paperwork, if these people knew these dogs were fluffies, the AKC would pull them joints. We have to keep it a secret. We got to lie on the colors because the colors is not on the paperwork.
Right.
This is the basic truth for everyone. So I understand, we have to understand, we playing this game, it's like being part of the streets. People get killed. People get tailed on. You know what I'm saying? People get backdoor and snaked all the time.
Right.
When you jump off the porch, you got to be ready for whatever.
And people don't understand too is that, say for instance, you have a stud and it didn't meet the paperwork when you register the dog on his AKC paperwork. You know AKC is going to ask you, hey, I need you to send a DNA, right? And
They just do that just because.
and then the dog's a different color than what the paperwork says. You can fall out with somebody doing a breeding. They can call AKC and report you like, hey, I need you to send me a picture. I need you to send me this. And then next thing you know, they could take your papers away on that dog. And people don't understand that this business is really risky when it comes to breeding. A lot
That's
of
why
people
you
don't
gotta do
even
good business.
And a lot of people don't know about that because they don't think like that. You got to understand, if my dog is a chocolate tri, but in the paperwork it doesn't show me any chocolate tries, I got to lie on it. I got to
But
say.
AKC will, if you send a picture, so
You
say,
gotta send
Yeah,
say
you gotta
I
send
send
them
a picture of a
you gotta send them
merle,
a
they don't
picture.
register the dog as a merle. They register it as great white spotted.
Yeah.
So even on paperwork, it's not even going to say what it actually is. So you could call them all day long, and at the end of the day, AKC doesn't care.
Oh, I know that. But what I'm
AKC is
saying,
also money based. AKC knows that we have fluffies. AKC knows that
Oh,
these dogs
of
are
course,
good.
of
AKC
course.
knows. If they obviously don't care because they're still receiving this money. They know these dogs are blue. They know this. And in fact, if you send them a picture, they're going to register the dog as blue. But they're going the long way. They're making you pay extra and go the long way to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I know. It's all
It's all money.
Skimming and you know, everybody is like, if I like the way Tracy does her business, hey man, can I get a copy of that contract? I want to do it like yours. Hey, but yours is different than hers. But a lot of people feel like.
But then maybe you should get some of my information from my contract and some of the information from his
then
contract
mix
and
it
make
up.
your own
Yeah,
contract.
Of course, but a lot of people want to be. Oh, I want to be like hers. I want to be like them. No, make yourself comfortable with yourself and the person that's investing money in your pocket, because they might have a different type of way. You know what I mean? Just like the situation that we were talking about, females not being good to be bred. Me and you have a different type of opinion of, hey, let's work something out. And you're like, nah, look, I could have sold you the dog as pet, but in reality, how are we going to know the dog was going to be good as a pet? There's different ways of handling business and different ways of, you know. And
It's just knowing that the person that you're dealing with, back to what we're here for, is knowing that the person you're dealing with is going to do good business and stand on the business when you do it.
That's very important. Very,
That's
very
what I mean.
important.
Because like we'll say, across the board, we all know that if we do a stud vacuum, it's second pick. If you tell me, no, I'm going to give you fifth pick, eighth pick, I could take you to court. And when we go to court, you know what they're going to say? Well, what is standard practice? Standard practice is second pick. You're going to have to give me second pick because you should have already done your research and known before you even done this pup back that you have to minimum give second pick puppy back. A lot of people think, oh, well, because you didn't clarify it, it doesn't matter. No. There's also like a standard in our industry, which is second pick. There's a standard in our industry that if you do this certain things like,
that came up.
Stud, I'm going to get an automatic rebreed.
Then I think CC had a problem with someone out here in Texas with that. where I guess they got the dog from something. I thought it was CEC or someone in Vegas possibly. I don't know if the gentleman had bought a dog from him, used his stud, and I guess the stud owner was like, well, I didn't really need to use the stud, and he didn't tell me if it was first, second pick. So he tried to give him any puppy, like a last pick puppy, off the litter. And they asked a question online. I'm trying to think about who was the breeder. We saw it on, it was a big, they asked the question, 50-50. Yes, 50-50 had, I guess, a disagreement with whoever it was, whoever that he had bought a female from. The gentleman offered him use of his stud for pupback, right? I guess he agreed. They did the business. The puppies came out. I'm assuming they had some good quality or some high quality puppies, right? And then the disagreement was which pick puppy. And I'm assuming the dude wanted, I'm going to assume, say, second pick. He wanted first pick?
He wanted first pick.
He wanted first pick, right? And I'm like, okay, that's what it was. The dude was like trying to get, but he was trying to give him any puppy, like, or a last pick puppy. And I'm like, and when it came to me as an advice or a question, my question was, hey, second pick. Because that was the industry standard. But that's not the issue right there.
Being told in advance. Because if I say first pick, then it has to be first pick. But if we don't discuss it, it's second pick.
But I'm saying that's why I said
in writing also.
The man never discussed it with him about which pick it was, and he told him but it was just like it was two wrongs.
If I'm doing a stud back there, I'm getting first pick probably.
Automatic.
But it's because of your name. And that's what we were saying earlier.
And that's what you're asking for.
And you pretty much are going to tell them, you want to do putback, you're going to have to do first pick.
But usually, the industry standard, majority of people is doing the understood thing is second pick. That's the customary thing for most breeders.
It was first pick though, and that's
it used to be.
Telling George before, the industry is changing.
Because
so
why?
Breeding one time in house.
Because the value of these dogs have changed too. Now, remember Frenchies back then, even dope ones were like not that much money.
Like $6,000, $8,000.
Yeah, so now when you got puppy, like you picked the first pick, that's a $100K puppy. So now people wasn't hearing that no more. Like, hey, second pick. At least the owner of the female at least has a chance to get a good pup, and the stud owner can get a equally or just as good, maybe right under it.
Because they got two first picks. Now I got a first pick female, first pick male.
Yeah. So that's why I say. But now this gentleman, I gave him, but that's not the issue. I'm assuming they worked their business out. I'm hoping that they did, right? But now this is the issue. He put the question to the internet, right? He put it out there. And a lot of the people, this is what I try to say to you, you buy dogs, buy pups only from people who is knowledgeable and it's like, and like I said, reputable breeders or integritous breeders. Because I looked on there, all these guys saying, well, he ain't say it, so too bad, he should get last pick puppy. I'm talking about, it's not like one or two people. This is like a whole horde of people saying, well, if he... But these people are bottom feeders. Because I didn't see nobody...
That's not no knowledgeable people about breeding dogs.
That's what I'm saying. These are the people who are saying that bottom feeders. And I'm like, man, don't take...
You know what they do? If I feel like I should give you fifth pick, I'm going to jump on the train with every single person that agrees with me. And that's what they're going to do with it.
But that's what the gentleman agreed. He said...
They're going to jump on whoever they feel is right and whoever they feel is wrong. Even if the person's not right or wrong.
Yeah, because Mo can say, hey, this, and oh yeah, I'm going to agree with Mo. You know what I mean? But in reality, everything should be written down in paperwork.
And that's what I told them yesterday.
Hey, bro, you got a second pick. All right, cool. And then you're like, oh, no, I want to get first pick.
I don't do nothing.
And I don't do that. I do first pick automatically. I don't care about how standard issues or everybody does second. My thing is, if we're going to do the deal, hey, man, I want to do first pick. If you don't like it, then either pay for the stud fee or...
Man, really, to tell you the truth, I got contracts and paperwork, but I don't have to do that. The people I deal with...
the people you trust.
The people I deal with,
and you
they come to me because they know I'm going to make sure they're first.
Yeah. And that was the issue was a lot of people put faith into George Mosley thinking that he was continuing... Because, we all know today we could do good business. Tomorrow we fall on hard times. I don't know that you fell on hard times, so I'm still shelling you out money, not realizing you just went bankrupt yesterday. And so now I'm getting screwed thinking that you're still the same person, Ox, as you were yesterday. And that's why, like, if I feel there's an issue, we should just do a contract. And you should be like, cool, you want to do a contract? Let's do a contract. But then some people will be offended. Why do you want to do a contract? I thought we were all partners. I thought we were all friends. And that's where this came in. was when they were talking about it, they were like, well, let's do a contract. And he's like, no, we don't need to do a contract. We'll just trust each other. And then at the end, he's like, well, let's do a contract. Well, why did we not have to do a contract when you were accepting my money, but now when I want you to pay me back, now we need a contract?
Yeah, it just that's how life is. I mean, in reality, bro, because it's like me and you can do good business with no paperwork. Somewhere down the line.
But I see this also in my situation. I invested a lot of money into Russia, right? I was investing big money into this lady. Boom, boom, boom. She's doing great business. I'm bringing all these cats over. My people are bringing all these cats over. Things are rolling. All of a sudden, she's sending sick cats. No paperwork. Hanging everything. Bro, now they're looking at me because we've done $100,000+ in business together.
That's what I'm saying. People get comfortable.
And then contracts
money
dissipate.
starts coming in good and all, like, oh man, forget that. I'm gonna go ahead and cheat them out. They're not gonna know any difference. But in reality, it comes bite you in the ass at the end, you know. And yes, if you have good businesses with other people, that's going great for you. Hey, keep going. Eventually, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have one person gonna try to screw you over. It ain't you trying to screw them over, because you always want to look out for your people. You always want to, man, I want to make sure I put money in your pocket because we're going to have good business. But somewhere down the line, it just falls back like, Mo. And then Mo had a good partner going on until somebody got in that person's head and, oh, Mo, you messed me. What you mean, man? I did good business with you, man.
Yeah. And the whole thing is you're flossing all over the internet all this money, and then you try to discredit the person who's giving you all the money.
Yeah, you know,
that's what was kind of so funny. And that's what I said, NDAs, keep your business, because what happens is this. There's going to always, let's say, example, that deal might not be a good deal for, let's say, a breeder, let's say one of the, I'm going to use the OG breeder, right? That deal might not be a good deal for an OG breeder who can't get more than $5,000 for his puppy. So yeah, paying $70K for a puppy, for a female, is outrageous. Like if you're only making $5,000, maybe not even $10,000. Let's say you make only $10,000 a puppy. To pay $70K for a female on a co-own may not even make sense to that person. But they're not understanding this deal was ideal.
But
was
also,
a good deal
the market had changed. So say when that dog was bought, it was bought for $100,000. Okay, so we fast forward to a whole year later. Now the same dog is worth $10,000, right? Well, I can't talk to you about a puppy that's worth $10,000 when you got a stud that you paid $100,000 that's working. Because we all know, I invested big money, and by the time this dog was working, the market completely changed. But what
mattered was that the co-owner got him back the majority of his investment off of 2 pups.
But you can't go off of what you know, because like say you enter into the industry today, and you know that the fluffies are $10,000. But I'm over here with a $100,000 dog, and you're over here telling me, oh, that ain't worth that, da-da-da-da, you get all in my head. And the reality is your dog's not worth it because your dog's not working. My dog is worth it because my dog is working. And that's where you come in with the dog that's 18 months old. And now you're screwed because you paid all this money. And if the market's completely different.
Well, and it also falls back on the bloodline, what's behind the DNA and all that. Because I remember...
You can't think about that, DJ, because these new dogs coming in so fast from the UK is an experiment. Yeah. So when people that's why I don't like selling my dogs to no breeders. I'd rather sell to people that really want to buy something for their house to look good. If they breed it, it's all good, but it's too much hassle with breeders. They got problems with this, they got problems with that. And like I said, the dog we spun $65,000 on a dog that's about to make 2 years old, when a year ago we'd have made he was gonna produce big rope Merle, full fluffy Isabella.
First in the world stuff.
First in the world
Where
stuff.
you were gonna make 65 off of every puppy.
Now we all the way behind, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
We waiting. Yeah. We waiting on him to say what he got.
Yep.
Like, I don't really want nothing else. You can send me my bread back, cause I miss my chain.
Because
you know
I was waiting on you.
Cause I bought this dog from you. You know what I'm saying? I miss my chain. What it was sold on.
That's like in a situation I would have like jumped in there and said, well, hey, let me push forward this other dog that I got in my pocket, and we can work together on this dog so we can all both start getting the money back. That's where being a reputable breeder is jumping in and being like, I know you got the movement. let me just send you this other dog that I was holding on to because you're not winning, and let's win together. And then when the female is ready, then we can work it out at the end.
Yeah.
That's because a lot of people is going on. It's like all this bad business, but they're not even willing to negotiate together on how to make it work. Like we jumping straight to the internet and discussing this money stuff. But we haven't even been up. We never even sat down in a room together and discussed it.
Exactly.
We're straight on the internet because we think I can strong arm you into doing stuff if I go to the internet.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I think a lot of the biggest problems come from people jumping into big breeder business, and just because they're mimicking and they're not.
Right.
It's no different than someone who don't have the money, buy jewelry, buy cars, buy nice beautiful chains, live a lifestyle that's not. Hey, it's not for you. It's not for you right now. Right now, you could be saving, building yourself up, build your credit, or whatever you're doing. Find an industry, make passive income. That might be the space. I think I see a lot of people who just jump into some dogs, buy some dogs today, tomorrow, trying to set up co-owns and try to sell because they see he do it and he's doing well. That's what people are doing. Like sitting with me here with the reproduction stuff, right? People will come here and they see all of this. So now, you know how I almost feel like that office generated the most backyard reproduction specialists, I think, in all of Houston area. Because I don't know how many people, I can't count, that came here and that they are now doing progesterone tests. I tell you, one person, lady, her numbers all over the place. I'm looking at them like, how are you selling this as a service? They don't even understand the science behind it. I got these guys that come here offering the service because no one, they realize they understand these people are suckers. They don't want to drive. They rather give the $60 because it's easy. I don't have to go nowhere. It's the same. It's like people when they buy cameras, right? I see happen all the time. Man, this is a dope ass picture. What kind of camera you use, right? It's not an iPhone. They'll run out and go buy a $6,000 camera and still have trash, but they don't understand. Yes, the camera does help you make awesome photos if you understand how to utilize it. But also that same person, the same photographer who take dope pictures with that $10,000 camera, also take good pictures with the cheap one, with the iPhone also.
Yeah.
So they know how to hit lighting. They know
Yeah.
they know the technical stuff to make that picture work.
They don't understand, like the iPhone, you take a good picture, it don't take much. That's why because the software does all the most of the work for you. But there's a cap. You notice most of the stuff, the cap is at 12 megapixels. It is a cap, or maybe there's a cap at the quality. Mm-hmm. They don't understand megapixels don't mean nothing. You know, there's cameras out here that the video cameras out here cost at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and there's only 12 megapixels. The megapixels don't mean anything. The people jump into it, like the science of testing. You can have $160,000 IDEX, all whole setup, right? But if you don't do it right, I remember when we have our seminar with the IDEX rep, right, for the doctor. Even the doctor came in, right? And the doctor is in there learning. Everyone's learning. People who've been doing it for years, been 23 years, 24 years, right, doing this, right? And even he learns something new, like, oh, shoot, I'm not going to give up the sauce. I can't even say it. I'm not going to say it out loud. Yeah. But there's certain things that even he didn't know. Mind you, he's been testing animals for over 20 years, school, everything, and they didn't realize that these are small discrepancies will cause your results to be different. So yeah, it'd be IDEX, it sounds good, looks good. You know, I had to tell someone else, they putting blood in the wrong too. They argue me, and they like, oh, they come back a week later. I don't want to put people out there because people paying them for progesterone testing. Man, they've been putting in the wrong tube the whole time because they thought it was the same thing. They don't understand the difference. You know what I'm saying? They're like something so small, lithium and sodium heparin. They don't know the difference between the two things. They look similar, they look the same. So these are the small things people understand. There's a lot of people who are not ready for something and they jump into it and it's bad business, I'm not doing no corona. Man, you at a wrong stage to be doing that because you yourself, it's like children having children, right? When you're a child having a child, your mind ain't all the way there. Your priorities ain't straight, you know? And then when the time your mind get right, man, nature ain't on your side sometimes, you know. 30, 40 years old, when people, like most men got it. We're allowed to start becoming smart and understanding life later because that's how nature gave us. But women have to get it straight early. A woman can't be at 50 years old, finally get her mind right and decide I want to have kids at 50. A man could be ain't shit for like his whole life. And then maybe at 45 decide to get himself together and then decide to have a family, obviously with a younger woman. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like I said again, certain people put themselves into situations that they're not ready for. That's why I tell everyone, hey man, you going out to buy $100,000 stud because he's making money may not be the move for you. You might be more of cheaper dogs and focus on the pet homes that maybe sub 300 standards, 3,000, sub 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Don't dip in your life savings. Take $100,000 dog and think you're gonna do the same thing he's doing.
Right.
He has to build himself
They do that all the
up.
time, thinking that okay, because the market's $35,000 for a fluffy, they invest all this money. They're also supposed to get $35,000 for a fluffy, but you haven't done the footwork to get the $35,000 clients.
And then some people have it naturally too. I've met people who like they jump
like
in.
Isaac just jumped in and blew up because he has the ability.
Mo too, but some
honestly,
people.
Mo invested the money, and
But he took a lot. He took loss. People understand. There's a lot of secret loss that goes on. No one goes out and say. Nobody runs around. Hey, that dog was shit. That dog was shit. That bitch ain't produced nothing. That bitch over here produced trash. That one. No one says that. No one points out their failures. But what a person of business. The thing about this case is business. Hey, if I put enough money into it, I learn from each mistake, and I build up in quality. That quality litter will cover all these fuck ups I just did over here. That'll fix me on this one financially.
But Mo, what he did was he invested the money and then he invested the time. Because some people invest the money and then they feel like they don't need to invest the time. He invested the money knowing that he was willing to get up every single day, all day, stay on the internet, stay being relevant, taking pictures every single day, having people follow him around with the camera. Mo understood that jumping in this wasn't just purchasing a dog. It was also the marketing of that dog. And that's why he was so successful.
Let me tell you this too. He wasn't afraid to spend the money. To him, it's not, this is the thing about it. People are so in business. It's not spending the money. The rule, and we never talked about this. The rule is you get money, you invest it to make more money. Mm-hmm. You try your best not to spend it. Spending means it goes out and it does shit for you. No, he does. I watch this. He don't try to cut out the middle person. Hey, I got this dog in the beginning. He's trying to find a good place. Boom, boom, boom. No, I'd rather pay you to focus on this shit. I don't want to know nothing about it. You focus on just getting these dogs pregnant. Then this other person, you focus on getting these puppies out. Then now he tempted one time. Hey, this whooping shit is not for me. It's not for him. It's not in his blood. No form or fashion. I'm gonna pay the whelper to make sure to take care of these dogs, and he don't try to cut anyone out. You know what happens? It maximizes how many puppies you have. It maximizes how much success you have. It maximizes the time for him to do the shit that matters, right? Because if he spent all day trying to test his bitches, he spent all day trying to whelp the dogs.
He wouldn't be able to promote his dog.
Don't forget he has family. So you have kids. You got to do this. You got to do that. Got going on. Where is the time to be innovative? Where's the time to think about what am I gonna put when I make this more money? Where am I gonna invest in? Where's the time to do other investments? Don't forget, we're human beings.
So I had a meeting with somebody, and they were saying having a stud isn't work. It's easy. It's easy to have a stud, but it's not easy to have a stud. You have to get up. You have to meet every single person. You have to meet everybody's needs. If somebody's female is ready at 12 o'clock at night, you might have to show up and be there. People, it's not easy to have a stud. It's hard work. It's a lot of networking. It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of talking to people. And I literally had somebody tell me, it's nothing. You can sell your stud fee for $5.
Do they have a stud? They don't have, listen.
It is a big breeder. And they literally said that, and I was like, no, even Mo has to work. They said, Mo doesn't have to work. I said, you're crazy if you think that this guy doesn't get up every day. He doesn't have a videographer following him. You're crazy if you don't think that Isaac doesn't have somebody following him 24/7. Y'all think that you can buy these animals, and it's just worked for Mo.
So
it just worked for Mo.
This is a big breeder who has studs and everything.
Yeah, big.
And he feels like it's easy. He has to do nothing for it. How did he
his stud's not working. He's like, you're crazy if you think that a stud's working every day. You're crazy if you think that these studs are really working the way you're. And I said, you really want to say that? Because I know for a fact I've seen these studs working every single day. You're delirious if you don't think. I said, my stud's working every week. And I have multiple studs working every week. How can you tell me if you want your stud to work every week? And you also say, it's easy to sell your stud fee for $500. Now you don't wash out your line and you say, oh, I can sell a dog for $20,000. You can't sell a dog for $20,000 if you're charging $500 for a stud fee. That's crazy and not realistic.
You say he's a big breeder.
Yeah, but it's not really happening. In his mind, you're thinking that this is happening, but it's not happening. And that's why you're saying that other people aren't working the way that we think they are. And honestly, that's what's happening is people are discouraging people. Oh, it's not really happening like that. They're lying to you. It's a get-rich-quick scheme. No. Some of us are successful. Some of us are winning. Some of us are having our studs work because we're putting in the footwork and not saying it's not easy. It's easy.
I think they're more focused on not trying to discourage people. I think they're more focusing on to downplay other people's success and saying it's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's not real.
And the thing is that we're only allowing you to see whatever we post on here, but nobody knows the back scenes of what we go through. Mo can tell you, I can tell you. You have so many people in your inbox messaging you, and you got to have time for that. You got to have time to go back and forth. Hey, I got to go do this. I got to do that. Nobody knows what happens behind the scenes. You only get to see whatever we post up on social media so you can see what we got going on.
Well, the way I see it.
And then people see money, jewelry, cars. But nobody knows what's behind that.
But, I mean, well, to wrap this whole podcast up right now, right? The way I see it is this is the one going thing. Get your contracts in order, and if you're not sure, sit down with someone who's knowledgeable. If you're making that kind of money, again, if you're making anything over $1,000, $2,000, sit down, go get an attorney. $2,500, $1,000. Some attorneys even cheaper than that $500 retainer. Sit down, look this over, say, hey, I need this thing here to protect me and you have to focus on yourself. I'm not saying you try to protect your customers. You're supposed to be protecting yourself. The contracts for that, and your brand and your program.
Your business.
Yes.
We're having contracts for a business because I think a lot of people are misunderstanding it.
And it makes it
it's
clear
not just dogs,
what
it's business. So we have to stand on our business. And because I love you all day, we're friends all day, that's opposite from our business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's where the Frenchy Bowl kind of had a problem is we were all friends, they're all friends or whatever, but they missed where the business part of it was.
And I think they went down the slippery slope of when you don't have it, hey, I don't have it, I just can't be a part of it. And that happens. Sometimes you miss a lot of boats. I miss a lot of boats. Like, hey, I can't do it. I can't do it right now. Between this place and the clinic, I got to step away from it. I got to leave that alone. I remember the van. They brought the van to me. The whole Moses van thing, they brought the shit to me. They brought it to me. And I'm like, fam, new place, Brooklyn, the clinic, fam, I don't want to hear about
But
nothing.
you shouldn't invest. You shouldn't go and buy a van if you don't have 100% of the money, if you got to have to take an L.
That's
So
what I think.
If you really needed, like if you needed ox, then you need to take ox. If you don't need ox and you're going to be fine without ox's money, then yeah, you make those decisions on your own. But you can't go and make a decision for ox and say because we had a conversation one time, he's automatically signed into the deal.
Yeah.
You have to stop assuming and start getting facts.
And they did too many deals on top of deals when one was not completed.
Yeah.
That's my thing. And you have one that's old here, another one's old here, and it's just I think a lot of people also get caught up in the busybody business. I got to do this, I do that, got to do this, got this. I just do this. I focus on this. I focus on this. The clinic and this. That's what I do, right? I focus on science. I can spend all day talking to people, talking to doctors, do the traveling. I focus on this 100%. For the majority of the time now, this podcast get
I think people need to just speak up. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Hey, bro.
We're gonna
take
post,
care of me? Can you help me out? Yeah.
So what we're gonna do for this thing, we're gonna post up the full interview with Tracy, with George Mosley, and Marcus Hype. She's gonna post it up. She has a line of questioning. You can hear from their mouth directly. Yes, you got little snippets and I guess footnotes of what we experienced, our opinion about it. It looks, and again, we're not the judge and jury about this, but to me, honestly, I feel like there's fault on both sides because again, there was too much bad business that turned into scumbaggery. I think it started off as bad business, and I think it turned into scumbaggery. I think it turned.
It probably started off with everybody having money.
Yeah, and I think
it ended with people's money depleted.
Yes, and I think it festered into lies and half truths and twisting things. It may not be a lie, but they're twisting it, and it can easily twist. I think they can. I think they all can come back from it. I think when I say come back, I'm not talking about like to be friends and cool. I think that a lot of that was kind of like went sideways, but I think they can professionally come back from it. It's a very small amount of money, $18,000. It's in question in the air. I think there's a relationship issue between Mosley and Tammy that may or may not be able to be repaired. But as long as the dogs, which is the products, are still alive and well, I think they can still continue to do business that will get her compensation and get her profits in there to make her money. I know it sucks when you add money to anything, it becomes demonized. So there is room for, it's not as bad as we thought it is, but there was a lot of scumbaggery that got to this point, even though at the end, there's only a little bit of money that's really, at risk right now that we're talking about. And I just think that a lot of it is just ego, and everyone has their own perception of what actually happened. Because I sat here and I saw, again, from behind the scenes, each person, they truly believe what they were saying, from what we can tell, from what I can tell. Unless everyone's good actors, they believe what they were saying, and everyone seemed to have a certain level of receipts to show us. So it's like, well, depending on he showed his stuff, like, okay, that did look kind of like, we left that the other night like, man, it wasn't what we thought. But then like the next day, you see some more stuff. Then we saw some more things today with the guy from China and stuff. So we have so many different receipts. It depends on what you want to look at, determines which way you lie in the situation. But I will say this, my personal opinion, I think the gentleman, Alex, from what we've seen so far, it looks like he's been left out the loop a lot of the time. It do look like they're trying to make a split on the Frenchie Bowl. It's been told to us that Frenchie Bowl will be back here. Frenchie Bowl 3 will be back here in November 2024. So there's going to be another. So it's not done for Frenchie Bowl. They already started up on the. I guess
they already have the venue booked for November the 9th of 2024.
Yeah, so they're already going forward. So I think it's going to come through. There's some surprisingly new partners in the Frenchie Bowl. So this is real news coming from the horses, or these horses, or stable mouth, wherever it may be. That there is some new partners. I don't think one that I heard that may be potential. I was very surprised to hear, but we're going to be excited to hear who will be the new partners. Hopefully, they learn their lessons from whoever's involved. Learn their lessons about this business, how to do things the right way. I hope they learn how to stay away from this ugly, because it's like borderline scamming. I hate to say
it's a big gray area in the dog industry, and I think we need to stay between black and white. I think we just need to start staying less out of the gray area.
I think we need to stop making the area grow, because there's some gray areas. I think we have to stop making it grow bigger. Like, make the gray area as small as possible. And I hope that they learn from it. And I think we're going to put it out there so the rest of the world can just hear it for themselves. And I know people are very polarized when it comes to when they hear this stuff. They're going to say, pick Mosey, going to say Marcus, their side, one side scam someone else. But as far as we know, Frenchie Bowl 3 is going to be back again, and hopefully they learn from this. And like I said again, we're not the judge and jury, but we just talked about our personal opinion. So our personal opinion does not make it the exact truth. But and there's some things we cannot talk about that because it's not confirmed. So I don't nothing too. We're not going to talk and throw things out there like some other places will put out some information that's not true just to build up clout and stuff. Yeah, it's not, because you know what? These are people's lives, and these are real money, real people, and and people can be hurt.
And legal actions can be taken.
Yeah, that too, and we have to respect that. So we just watch on the sidelines, learn from their mistakes, and then next podcast, hopefully we get some good news or some more updates on what's actually happening with this group. All right. Well. Thank you guys, and I guess that's it for us today.